Alrighty, guys. Yes, top 20 of 2020 hip hop albums coming at you live here. I am your boy, MOOD to the Z. Yo, and I got my main homie here, Jason to the Bosco. What's up, homie?
Yeah, we're back again.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. We're going coast to coast here. You far East Coast, I'm far West Coast. We couldn't be any further apart. But yeah, man, I'm really stoked to do this. Never done this with someone else, doing a top 20 or top list of any sort. We did this on the podcast a little, before and stuff, but this is video form, and I kind of like this format. It's pretty cool and stuff. So, but yeah, 2020, right off the top here, I just want to say, 2020, is obviously gone. It's gone. And I just want to give a big shout out, a big rest in peace to a few fallen hip hop soldiers from the past year, notable cats that passed away in 2020. First up, I want to give a big rest in peace to Malik B from The Roots. That was a really unfortunate, untimely death. I was a big fan of Malik B. I'm sure you were too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. Malik, that passing just shocked I think it shocked everybody. It was random. It was out of left field and stuff. And I honestly don't even really know how he passed away, but it was very unfortunate. I loved his album that he did with Mr. Green a couple years back. And stuff. It was a great album.
Yeah,
and of course,
that was a great album.
Yeah, with his work with The Roots was amazing too. The up-and-comer Pop Smoke, that was just an untimely, violent, and ridiculous death. Ecstasy from Houdini, Houdini being one of my all-time favorite groups. They have 3 bona fide classic albums. This is True School at its finest, one of the most influential groups, for, the new school of all time, Of course, Steezo passed away also, which was unfortunate too. Steezo, of course, made some noise in the early 90s and stuff and disappeared for a long time. But, he was doing good. He just opened up a barbershop and he was kicking it and fucking passed away, man. It's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, man.
And who else passed away this year? Fred the Godson. He also passed away. That dude was a dope-ass freestyler, man. A lot of features on the underground tip and stuff. He was making some moves, and I think he would have been something really special, and kind of unfortunate. And of course the big one that kind of devastated the hip-hop community, which is MF Doom. Even to this day, of course it's been a few weeks since we found out, because apparently he passed away on Halloween, and then we found out 2 months to the day later, which I still think has really kind of frustrated a lot of people and confused a lot of people. MF Doom's life was very it was an eccentric life. He was a very isolated, he had a lot of problems. So we know the MF Doom story. So his passing being announced 2 months later just adds to the mystery of his whole aura of life. It's very strange to me. But just very, very unfortunate, man. I think MF Doom was, he just had so much more to give, and just an incredible artist gone way too soon. Not even 50 years old, but
yeah, and the sad thing about that is that, I saw quite a few people on Twitter and online saying that, his death might have been faked or staged, and he's going to come back as another character because of the, him passing in October and then it being announced, at the end of the year type of thing. But so that's kind of a sad twist on everything where everybody's thinking it's staged for a bit.
I get it though, because of the whole imposter MC thing and stuff from the past. And like I said, his whole life has been a mystery. Why he wears the mask and stuff, because to hide the pain. Like, there's been all this kind of mystery about MF Doom and stuff, and I get it. But if that actually turned out to be true, that I would be so devastated. I would be so like, no, he's not coming back as the son of or the new birth of King Ghidorah. I'd be so mad. I'd be like, what the fuck does happen, man? Could you imagine?
That would be insanity.
It would be. But big shout out to all those cats that passed away, unfortunately, in 2020. Everybody way before their time. No one was old, which is, it's always devastating to hear that news and stuff. But let's get into what we're here for. We decided to do our top 20 of 2020. Just kind of made sense. Why not? I might do an extended list on my channel. I don't know if Jay is going to too. I might just do from 50 down to 21. I usually do top 50 lists. Sometimes I do top 30s, depending on how the year kind of goes. But I felt like this year actually was pretty strong overall. As a whole, we could probably sit here and discuss the themes of the recent trends of recent years with these very short albums, quote unquote, right? Albums have gotten so short. It seems like it's all about quantity over quality a lot these days. And I'm not saying a lot of these short albums aren't quality.
I think every time we talk, this topic of albums comes up. Like every time we talk, if it's just a random chat or whatever, it's It really pisses you off. I know that much.
It's just like, I'm one of those people, like, because I'm an album person, and I like to sit down and spend it like 45 to 60 minutes. But when an album is like 27 minutes and it's really good, and you're like, where's the rest of it? You know, it's a little bit frustrating because I don't want to be left all the time album and, you know, listen after listen going, where's the rest of it, over and over again. And it's not so bad if it's like one or here and there, but when we were growing up, you know, those 27-minute albums were EPs. Now they're albums. You know, the whole thing has changed over time and stuff, which it is what it is. I'm becoming to accept it a little bit more. I had a lot of problems with it a couple of years ago when Kanye kind of made it this whole new theme of making short albums, which those are clearly EPs. Right, like
blame Kanye. Just blame Kanye.
So, but it is what it is. We live in this very, very digital era, and it's easy to make music. Hence, the output of albums and, you know, the quantity of releases. Like we brought up, at least in my last update, I talked about the Fahim putting out like 120 releases in the last like 4 years, and I'm just like, those numbers are, I mean, by the standards of anything, are ludicrous. It's just, it's crazy to me, right? You know, there's a lot of cats out there doing a lot of work and putting out a lot of quality stuff, but there is still cats making legitimate albums, you know, which I do respect and stuff. So, but that's what we're here to do here.
Well, the other day, like a lot of times, like through the week when I'm working, I'll listen to just pop radio. I just have it on low volume, just sort of like a distraction, you know?
Yeah.
And there was a quote, I can't remember who it was by, but they were saying that nowadays people don't search out albums, they just search out songs. So that's how artists are basically making music now. Like they put out a couple songs here, a couple songs there. And the whole theory of people not having the attention span to listen to an album, I think is kind of crazy, but maybe it's true. Maybe that's the way the industry has figured out how everything's going. So.
Well, you know what I think it is? I think the attention span does actually play a part into it, but I also think flooding the market with hundreds and hundreds of releases every single day. Like if you frequent the internet and you go to certain websites where they post albums, there's literally like 25, 30 albums a day posted, and they could probably do more. My point is that, you know, for myself, and I preach this over the years and years, is that the reason why I collect like physical albums, because when I listen to a record, whether it be vinyl, CD, or tape, or whatever the format may be, I like to, like, you know, open up the booklet and read the liner notes and stuff, and it's different. It's a different feeling with the music and stuff. And I think with digital music, when you're just downloading something, that's the end of your connection with it. You listen to it, it's throwaway at the end of the day, unless it really gravitates with you. But I think that physical albums and just having that aspect of, you know, your connection with it and stuff is a lot different, where nowadays I can download 30 albums in one day, listen to 20 or listen to all 30 of them, and maybe keep one of them. You know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me. And like, so I think it's a lot of just quantity out there, and people are overwhelmed with releases. They're trying to get on to the next one. You're trying to stay current, just like these recording artists are trying to stay current with putting out an EP every week. You know, that's the currency of the times, right? I mean, back in the day, you know, if you didn't put out an album every, you know, 18 to 24 months, you were kind of falling off. Could you imagine that nowadays? 2 years ago, nobody would even remember the shit that you dropped that was even considered by what everyone says is classic nowadays, or modern hype. It's just crazy. Like everything's classic. People overuse that word so much, but I don't know, man. It's become a different reality with music, but you know,
then you have artists like Jay Electronica who gets away with that shit, man. Like he'll put out like stuff here and there, and if the hype is still with him for some reason, I don't understand it. He's the only guy that can get away with it.
Did you like the Jay Electronica album? I think that came out, what was it, last year?
It was all right. I mean,
was it worth the like 10-year wait?
Hell no.
No, it wasn't. No. I was honestly, I liked it, but I was like, whoa. Like, I feel like this is the Adele 11th Hour album all over again, where I remember the hype on that album for years, and then it came out and everyone was like, ugh, what the fuck happened to that shit, man? That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. But you're right, though. Jay Electronica is one of those guys that definitely gets away with it. Like, he can drop a song here and there and do a guest feature, and he's just like, Jay Electronica, and everyone's fucking flipping out and losing their shit. It's like crazy.
Yeah, man. He's like, he's gotten away with this somehow, like, totally different than anybody else. But
right.
I think it's a Jay-Z connection.
You know, it probably is. I mean, and that's the thing, you know, Jay-Z's got such, I mean, obviously he's such an elevated artist, you know, it doesn't matter what Jay-Z drops, it's always going to do well. But I mean, you know, in reality, Jay-Z's one of those cats that, like, he puts out way more bad albums than good albums and still is so relevant than he ever was. You know, it's just I always say Jay-Z is like the AC/DC of hip hop music. You know, AC/DC could drop an album 50 years down and still sell 1 million copies. They don't have to. They're one of those groups that doesn't have to drop albums to stay relevant to sell out stadiums. You know, it's like he's just that status, right? Not too many people get to that.
But the thing with them though is they actually stick to their formula and don't change shit. They just stick with what they're good at. But Jay-Z will do different shit, and
and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So. But yeah, top 20 list. Did you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. Take it first.
Let's get into these lists here. Top 20 of 2020.
All right, man. Starting off at number 20, I have Benny the Butcher with Burden of Proof.
Good choice. Good choice.
Produced entirely by Hit Boy, which is kind of a strange. I thought that was a little bit of a strange choice for Benny to take on this album. You know, especially after like Tana Talk 3 had a real gritty feeling, street feel, a lot of Alchemist beats, stuff like that. But this one definitely had a different tone and different feel to it. His rapping's solid, but yeah, that's why I have it so low on my list, basically.
Yeah,
I didn't think the production.
It was really shocking to me because, you know, he's been, you know, we've been so used to like the Griselda type production, you know, with all the cats been producing for them, and then all of a sudden Hit Boy comes along. It's a little more poppy, mainstream. Those are probably bad words. It's not really on those levels and stuff. It sounds a little bit different. It's not as gritty as the other production for sure. I actually
Maybe
really
polished.
Polish is a great word. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the record too. It kind of took me by surprise when I realized that it was like a one producer, one MC album. I was like, damn. And you know, me personally, those are like my favorite type of albums because I like when an MC can work cohesively with, you know, over 12 to 15 tracks kind of thing, and, you know, do it. Because sometimes when you mix producers, it works. Sometimes it doesn't. You're just like, whoa. It has this kind of like up and down feel to a record, but this one definitely had that same kind of polished feel throughout it. But I didn't really think necessarily it was a bad thing. You know, it could have been. So, all right,
it could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. But that's, you know, it's a solid album though.
Yeah. All right, so good choice. Coming in number 20 for myself is an album that probably might surprise a lot of people, but it actually took me by surprise. And I've always been one to follow this group for, you know, since the dawn of time. They're actually the one that got me into music, into hip hop music and stuff. But this album actually fucking really worked for me, and I thought it was fun as hell. And that is, of course, Public Enemy's "What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down." This was a fun album, man. You know what I really liked about this album? The production was fun, but you know, really good features on here. And the energy and it had everything that you want in a Public Enemy record. It had the political senses. It was very self-aware, but it had good features. You know, it had George Clinton on a couple tracks. Cypress Hill, DJ Premier produced State of the Union, which was cool. But it was really cool to hear, you know, Public Enemy #1 updated version with Mike D and Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys with Run DMC. It was like that Def Jam connection from 1986. You know, that was kind of cool to hear. Daddy-O kills it on here. It's fucking awesome. But then Fight the Power remix had some updated cats. You know, we got Nas on here, Rap City, Black Thought, YG, Questlove. It was cool, you know, and Ice-T, PMD's on here. But really, really interesting album. It just made me happy. It was a fun record.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that, you know, it's by no means up there with their best work and stuff. But again, it's 2020. And Public Enemy and Chuck D are still doing their thing. And, you know, the whole year with Public Enemy was such an interesting year because that whole thing where Public Enemy fired Flavor Flav was just, it's actually really interesting because when you know the whole story, because when it first came out, people were like, oh, fucking Chuck D's an asshole, man. He fired Flavor Flav and Public Enemy's nobody without Flavor Flav. And it's kind of funny because Chuck D is insanely smart because he knew once this type of media attention got out, he let it roll, and he let everyone believe that they fired Flavor Flav, right? And then it promoted the record. It promoted the record, and it was crazy because. And then he goes on Talib Kweli's show, and he tells the whole thing, and he's like, man, I don't know what the fuck people were thinking, and they automatically assume that Flavor Flav, because me and Flavor are married. We have our tiffs. We fight all the time. This is what it is. Flavor is branded in. He owns Public Enemy. He can't be fired anyways, right? So it was all stupid because of that whole Enemy Radio thing that came out. But that was a side project, and people seem to forget that Flavor Flav was actually on that record, right? So people kind of overlook the fact that there was no firing. But Chuck D is kind of very, very brilliant because he let the media critique that to the point of the bad publicity actually worked for him. and then just waited for his time when Talib did the interview, and then goes, "Fuck it, man. Here's the story." It was great. I really enjoyed that, man. So, but
yeah. I remember the first time I listened to that, I was like, "Damn, this is actually pretty good." I was expecting, complete dumpster fire, but yeah, the features were pretty decent. I didn't really like the remixes that much, just because of how iconic those songs are. But yeah, it's a solid album though from Public Enemy for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, it's fun.
Yep. Yeah, so when at 19 for me, it's an album I was really anticipating. It's Marlowe 2 with Solemn Brigham and production by L'Orange. But this album didn't live up to the hype for me at first, but after I started listening to it more and more, like towards the end of the year, it definitely picked up for me. So I'll probably check that out some more in this year.
You know what, man? I was kind of taken back by a little bit too. It felt like it took me a couple listens to get into it. I'm not gonna lie, it really did. First listen, I was like, "Whoa, this is it!" It just came off as being completely different, which it doesn't really surprise me. But yeah, no, it took me a couple listens. I'm a really big fan of L'Orange. I think that guy's one of those underrated producers that does a lot of really great work and doesn't really get mentioned a lot in conversations. Like I watch a lot of and listen to a lot of hip hop radio and talk and watch videos. No one ever seemed to mention L'Orange. I don't know what it is about that guy, but he's got a decent body of work, like catalog, and it's
for sure,
fucking dope, man. Fucking dope shit, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, good choice.
Yeah. And every time you hear anybody bring up the album, they'll say the production's awesome. I'm not so sure about Solemn Brigham, but I'm a big fan of his, man. I think that the production that L'Orange does and the way he does is sort of like sing-songy type delivery a lot of times, I think it fits together perfectly.
It's funny because I've mentioned that to you before. He's not really my favorite, but I do respect him, and it does oddly work with the production. So I've gotten used to it. Like I said, when the first album came out, it took me a few listens, and it's just one of those guys, man. It just takes a little bit to get into, but yeah, it is what it is. Definitely. So, cool stuff. All right, so coming in at number 19 for myself was an album that actually was not even in my top 20 until I started re-listening to it a little while ago, and because the first listen I was like, it's good, but then it just kind of a couple more listens, I was like, it's cool, man. But I do have problems with the record, like stuff I've mentioned many, many times in the past. But number 19 is Ill Bill's La Belle Medusa. Ill Bill, we reviewed one of Ill Bill's recent one, Stepogram, a couple years back, and that album just felt like a really poor mixtape to us. It didn't really work. Now this is an album.
A bad one.
This came off as being a full length album, 12 tracks, but it was about 40 minutes long, and it's got it's got the production you expect from Ill Bill. It's got Stu Bangers on there. It's got Ill Bill producing himself. It's got DJ Skiz, which I love DJ Skiz, man. That guy's got hard boom bap beats, man. And the features, man. DV Elias Christ, man. One of my favorite vocalists, man. I love that guy's voice, dude. Like, so cool. You got Pharoah Monch on here, Conway, Tech Nine's on here. We got Lord Goat, Recognize Ali, Cool G Rap. Like, there's a lot of features, man. Crime Apple, Little Vic, Slain. Which leads me into my first critique on the album. There is like pretty much maybe one or two songs on here that Ill Bill does solo. There's 12 songs, and I did actually take note of this because I am weird like that. And there's like twice as many non-Ill Bill verses on this record than Ill Bill. Right? Like there's more guest verses than Ill Bill has verses. And at this point, I'm like, is it an Ill Bill album? It's like, it's frustrating when you have a track with two other guys. There's 3 verses, 2 of them are not you. It's like, you actually kind of lose the Ill Bill appeal a little bit. Like, I like Bill as an MC. I think he says, and I like his approach. I like his voice. I like everything he does. I just feel like I'm missing Ill Bill on this record. I mean, when you got tracks with like Nems and Vinny Paz and stuff on your track, it's like, those are overbearing, powering voices too. Like, you forget about whose record you're listening to a little bit. But, as a whole, I think it's a dope record. And, I'm glad that Bill came back and did, an album, that was worthy of, getting some spins and shit. So I liked it.
Yeah, definitely solid features. I listened to it a couple times maybe, but Ill Bill's not my favorite MC.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but it's just solid album.
Yeah, he's never really grown it. Do you like the like nonfiction stuff?
Yeah, I do. I do like nonfiction, but Ill Bill's like, I don't know. He's kind of hit and miss for me, but definitely if this album, like, I'll actually prefer a lot of the features that you named off, right? It's like I'll prefer them to Ill Bill. So
Right.
It does kind of hurt him in that aspect for sure.
Yeah, I could see when you listen to a record like this being, totally into the features and just, it just, they overpower Bill for you, right? So at this point, it's like, am I really into this Ill Bill album or am I into the features? Right? It becomes a question,
That's
right?
exactly it, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
I get it. And there's a lot of cats on here I know you really like too, so yeah. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. But for my number 18, I have Willie the Kid with Capital Gains.
Nice.
And when you look at the production and features on this, man, it's like a who's who. You got Evidence, Alchemist, DJ Muggs, and then you have features like Rock Marciano, Action Bronson, Ito. So, man, it's definitely a lot of heavy hitters in this album.
You know what? I listened to it early. Oh man, it must have been a few months. It came out in the early part of the year, didn't it? Or was it maybe the summertime? Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah, the middle of the year.
Yeah, about the middle of the year.
I'm horrible at remembering months and years, man. Like I can't read, and especially this year, everything's just kind of mixed together.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was towards the middle of the year this came out.
Yeah, I listened to that.
He had another album that came out at the end of the year, but I didn't check that one yet.
Okay, which is really not uncommon for artists these years. Like I said, back in the day, one album was like, oh, we got an album.
Man. Yeah.
Now it's like if you get two or three, you're like
4 or 5 albums a year now, so it's like commonplace.
It's crazy, yeah. All right, so coming in at number 18 for myself is a record that I discovered a little while ago and absolutely fell in love with it. I didn't even know much about either one of these guys, really. I kind of had to do some research on this shit, and this is Joe Run Bombay and Phil Most Chill. Now,
no way,
dude. Joe Run Bombay. I didn't know much about the cat. I knew the name. Had to look into him. He's from your area. You're probably neighbors with this guy. I know he's actually from Halifax.
Oh man, he's a friggin' legend around here, man. It's like he is hip hop in Halifax.
Yeah. So he's definitely, and that's what I looked into. I'm like, man, this guy's like huge over in the East Coast. He's not really overly known as well over here.
No.
But man, I was like taken back by this record because when I first heard it, I was like, okay, he's a Canadian producer, and then Phil Most Chill, and I knew the name, but I had to connect the dots. And this guy is actually from the True School. He was doing shit in the early 80s, dropped a single in like 88. He disappeared for a few years and he resurfaced as he was doing like a bit for Rap Pages. He was doing like this animated shit for Rap Sheet. Remember the paper, Rap Sheet?
Rap Sheet. Yeah.
He did that for about 5 or 6 years or whatever, and then he disappeared and then resurrected his rapping career in the 2000s, dropped a couple records and then disappeared again, and then boom, 2020. We get this album, which is like a throwback album, and I gotta say that the production by Joe Run Bombay on this is insane. It's early 80s mixed with like it sounds like from the early 80s into like the late 80s, early 90s, and it has a kind of that flavor. But Phil Most Chill definitely duplicates that styles so well on this. Oh my god, this is one of the greatest throwback sounding albums I've ever heard. The production's amazing. It really is flavorful. It's funky. It's fun. It's shit that you could throw on at a party and people are just like, this is fucking dope. The whole record is like this, man. It's super fun. This is the cassette of this. They didn't actually press these on CD. The vinyl sold out in 5 minutes. The tape was $10, so I was like, fuck it, I gotta grab this. So on blue, pretty cool, but I guess I don't have to tell you that I recommend this highly. Joe Run Bombay, man. It was fucking great, man.
And the funny thing is, that's my number 17 album. So
oh, nice.
There you go.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. And the with the samples that Joe Run will throw in, like in the track, like there's one like these every punchline he throws in like a laugh track.
Yeah.
And what's that one song is Yum. It's like he's like somebody biting an apple all the time.
Right.
It's like, oh man, it's just like little things like that. But yeah, this album is just pure fun. Like if you want to have fun, just throw this on. Dude, and it's long as hell too. So
it is, well, because the last track on is like 25 minutes. It's like it's like a mashup kind of thing. But I love the like Funky Fresh for 83, like the sampling Run DMC, like it's 83. Like the sampling is so good in this, man. It's sequenced so well. It's so plush, and it's just like I can't believe that he incorporated like disco era, but making it sound new school, but it's old. Like it's really crazy how he sequenced this. But honestly, dude, if you could probably listen to this album 100 times and still not pick out all the samples. There's a lot of sampling. It's really cool.
He's known for that, man. He's got like stacks of records. So.
Super fun album, man. Super. I hope people get like peep it out and shit, because you got to hear it.
Yeah.
You got to hear it, because you don't hear shit like this in 2020. You don't hear shit like this ever.
If you just want to have a good time, just sit down and throw that on, right? It's like
absolutely. All right, so coming in number 17 for myself is Husk Kingpin's Gunpowder.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this album right here was fucking dope, dude. Huss is one of those guys, he's been around for years. He's part of the Connection and stuff. I got into him back in the day when he was, part of Digicrates. Do you remember Digicrates? It came out around 2010, 11.
Yeah.
So he was dropping a lot of shit with, like, him and Smooth with the Connection and stuff. And I remember Cognac Fruit. I had a bunch of those tapes and shit. And I kind of lost touch with him for a few years, and he kept dropping stuff, And of course, I know you love the you were into the Cocaine Beach album that came out in 17, right?
Oh yeah, man, that was my favorite album.
Yeah,
of that
so
year.
that was kind of like me getting back into him, because there was a few years where I kind of lost touch with the music, and like I said, I had a bunch of releases from him before and stuff, and then he dropped I think a couple albums this year, as like everyone else does. Honestly, dude, I don't even know a lot of the producers on this album. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
A couple of them I know. Like, I know, obviously, Stoop to Mankind. Like, Stoop appears on here. It's crazy. Yep. A bunch of other guys. There's a few features on here, like Snotty and Smooth is on here. Like, guys I've been listening to and stuff. Supreme Cerebral and shit like that. But a lot of beat makers. But the beats are just gritty, a little bit slower. They do have drums. Because, that theme has been very, very prevalent in music, man. Like, I always hear people are like, oh, man, I checked out this album you're talking about, but it didn't really have drums, so I had to turn it off. Like, people are just like, they like it or they don't kind of thing, right? But I think this one is good, man. It has a really fucking dark feel to the album, and it's like, it's slow, but it's like slow head knocking shit, man. It's great, man. Yeah. I think this is one of my favorite Huss releases in a while, so...
he puts out a lot of releases as well, man. He's like pumping stuff out left and right too.
I think some of that stuff, like, I swear it's not even like official though. It's weird because like he dropped a couple releases this year. Maybe some more were like EPs and shit. I don't know, but
he had some EPs.
Yeah, like I know he did one like last year that was released on Tough Kong, and that's the thing. Like a lot of these releases are getting physical releases, but it's from Tough Kong, and it's like out of Italy and shit, right? And a lot of these underground releases are getting European releases, which is kind of unfortunate in the times we live in because, I would like to get these, but the shipping is not worth it. It's just insane to ship, especially since, 2020 was going through its shit. All the shipping went up anyways. It's like, can't import that shit. So,
then you don't get half the shit as well. So it's like, you're taking a risk at purchasing anything now. It kind of sucks.
Yeah. That's kind of what I did with Bandcamp this year. Like, I was receiving 1 in 4 and I was like, fuck this. I just stopped ordering. I literally just stopped with that. Like if I wasn't ordering from HHV out of Germany, because what they do, they fast track it, DHL or whatever. It gets to me in like 5 days. And it's all tracked and shit. Yeah. So I'll order from them because I collect those 90s tapes releases and shit, right? So shipping is a little bit more, but I'm not worried because it's tracked and I get it in 5 days. So if you can work out something like that, but Bandcamp, with me has been very hit and miss over the years. I've always said, like, it's a gamble. You order, you might get it, you might not. I always get my money back, but half the time I think it doesn't even ship because they've never shown up. Right? So, a little bit frustrating, but
with Bandcamp, I usually just go the digital route, man. It's like I don't even want to take the chance on it now.
I know.
But with Huss, I get notifications from Bandcamp all the time. New albums dropping. But it's like a lot of it's like older stuff that they'll press up and put on vinyl. So it's like every other day, Huss Kingpin in my emails. I'm like, oh Jesus, man, how much stuff is this guy making? But, it's really funny.
I actually did order this Huss Kingpin album off his website. The shipping was totally good. The price of the CD wasn't bad. The shipping I think was $7, which I'll do if I can get $7 shipping. I'm like,
that's decent.
So it was actually worth it. So, and the Ill Bill I'm actually going to order with a couple others that are on this list. I own most of the physicals in the top 20 here, but there's a few. One hasn't been released yet, so I'm waiting. I'm gonna do a Fat Beats order because it's kind of the only place you can get them and stuff. But it's just you got to really take your time with if you want to buy physicals of these and just kind of search it, wait it out because. Dude, this shipping, man, it's unfortunate for us Canadians, dude. It's just, it ruins everything. Man. It ruins everything.
People don't understand that live outside of Canada, how brutal it is. Yeah. Like, with the conversion of the money and the shipping, it's hard to buy stuff at all now, really.
Very unfortunate.
You end up paying like $50. I was going to buy a T-shirt the other day. I can't even remember whose it was, but what was it? Oh, it was on Crime Apple. I was gonna buy a T-shirt. I thought, yeah, man, I'll get a T-shirt. And by the time I get it here, like, but the shipping and the conversion, it's gonna be like $60 or something for a T-shirt.
Right.
I'm like, dude, it's not happening, man. It's like, yeah, it's crazy.
I know. Just it's
so disappointing because I want to support. I want to buy stuff from people that I like, but it can't happen, man. I'm not paying like that much for a T-shirt, or a CD ends up being like $50. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. There's actually another album on here that I got to figure out a way to get it. But the price is already really high, and then the shipping is just—it's absolutely laughable. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on now. My number 16, a pleasant surprise for me, and it's Nas with King's Disease.
Ooh, crazy!
I'm kind of anxious to hear what you think about this album. So we never really discussed it, other than the initial when it came out. You said you thought it was better than what he had been doing, but
yeah. Well, to be honest, dude, like when I first listened to it, I was like, okay, I can dig it and stuff. And then of course I gave it a few more spins and shit. I even, like the firm, the firm track, the reunion track, of course, Without Nature, and Cormega was, the original firm member. So this was like an original firm track. At first I was like, okay, cool and stuff. And then after a few spins, I'm like, man, dude, the track is actually really disappointing to me, because I actually just expected a little bit more heat with having a firm reunion. And then I realized Foxy Brown's verse is atrocious on it. So I was like, it kind of brought it down for me. But as a whole, I think Nas, again, is always really good on the mic. He's got good flows. He's got good lyrics. He's always bringing shit like that. And he's very listenable. As for the beats, oh, man, I couldn't get into it.
Hit Boy again.
I know, but it's weird because I feel like the beats that he did for the Benny album they work so much better for what Benny. I don't know. The beats on this one just didn't work as well for me, man. It's frustrating over a few listens and stuff. I wanted some more heat, and everything just kind of it was just kind of okay. Like, I don't hate the album by any means, but
yeah, I didn't think the beats would be for you, really. But I don't know, man. After I listened to it a few times, Nas does sound really good on this. His verses are all solid. Like, flows nice. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a mark for Nas, man, because I even like that shit he did with Kanye, and everybody hated that. So
yeah, that was cringeworthy to me, man.
Yeah,
but I know that's the thing with that record. There was a lot of people that loved it, and a lot of people didn't. And I was just like, I was so stoked for it too, because I mean, I'm not a hater of Kanye's music at all. Like, I like Kanye production, man. I've always liked Kanye production. I mean, the record that he did with Common B is outstanding. Like, that record is so dope. And I always like some of Kanye's earlier production and shit, but yeah, that one with Nas, I was expecting a lot, because let's face it, we got a hit beat maker, and we got fucking Nas. This is crazy. Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. All right, so coming in number 16 for myself is an album that was actually kind of hard to obtain. I don't know why this record label's albums are so hard to obtain, because it used to be so easy. Maybe it was just these ones this year. I have no idea what's going on, but I was very happy that they got back together and did this, and that is Felt 4.
Oh, nice.
Felt For You. It was cool, man. So they went back to the original lineup, which is the Felt 3 had A$AP Rock produce the whole Felt album, and then Anta did 1 and 2. So he's back for part 4 here, which he's actually on the cover. Slug and Mirrors. And, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about this record this year and being like, it's great daddy rap, and I'm like, it's a great way of summing it up, because you got to remember that Slug and Mirrors are, in their late 40s now, and they're both family men. They openly talk about their families. They have tons of kids. They, they're just, and this is what they do. But this album is funky, and fucking beats on here amazing, dude. This shit sounds fresher than fuck. I was so blown away by this, because I won't lie, the Atmosphere album that came out this year, not good. I did not care for it, man. And so I was a little bit weary, and this is really good.
That album was it? I didn't understand what was going on, because they made sort of a movie for that shit. It's like, I watched it, I was looking at their videos, and they're all part of this movie or something, but I didn't get that album at all, man.
So they premiered it on their Rhymesayers channel on YouTube, and it basically played the album with the whole kind of movie storyline with it and stuff, which hence is why it's like 30 minutes or whatever. And I thought that was kind of a cool setup and stuff, but the music itself, I just wasn't feeling, man. I wasn't feeling anything that was kind of going on with the music. But this, on the other hand, was really great. Like, Slug and Mirrors, man, the lyrics are just so fantastic in this, man. Really, really good. And when they put out records, they don't really have a lot of features on their shit with these Felt records. I mean, the Grouch and A$AP is on a track, and so it's pretty much it, But funky as hell, very listenable. Mears has they both have some just outstanding lines in this, but you can tell that their chemistry is still there. I hope they keep doing these, man, because this just came across as being, they're back to doing felt records.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, man, I played the hell out of that in the car. I listened to that in the car all the time.
Yeah, I was actually bumping it before we got on here today. It got me all pumped up to,
Yeah, it's just a fun record, man.
Yeah, it's Ant's production, man. Fuck.
Yeah, that's probably the best Ant production I've heard in a while. Personally, I think that's what I prefer anyway. But.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yep. So number 15 for me, it's one that I just found this kind of by accident. I was just on Stone's Throw's YouTube channel, just going through videos and shit. But it's the Koreatown Oddity with Little Dominique's Nosebleed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's this album, man, it's like, it kind of took me back, like with the little interludes and things. It kind of reminded me of like De La Soul is Dead. And I friggin' love that album, and I like the little interludes and stuff, and it's like the stories he's telling. It's just good shit, man. It's like kind of like it's not a throwback, but it kind of feels like when I was a kid, when you listen to something like De La Soul is Dead, it's like something different. Just definitely a good album.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of De La Soul is Dead too. I like that whole theme that they did to the record and shit. I know a lot of people are always like, I did a video a long time ago about like some of my favorite kind of sophomore albums that I prefer over like the original albums, and that was the one that people were giving me heat about. They're like, "Oh man, that one's way better." I'm like, I never said better. I said I just prefer this one. I like listening to this album because the way it's constructed. It's just a really cool idea. So flows well. That's cool, bro. That's cool. All right, so coming at number 15 for myself is Recognize Ali's Recognition. Yeah, this is an album that I just have on kind of my wait list. I'm going to do it part of my fat beats order. I think it's only being released on vinyl and stuff, but just another great release from Recognize Ali, man. Like, he was very, very high with his album from last year on my list and shit, but I love this dude, man. I love his flow. I love his voice. I like I just like his content, I like the fact that this guy's super motivated and he's doing... he's taking the time to like fully do albums and shit, which I really respect. Like, this was a longer one. This was about a 60-minute album, 18 tracks, about 56 minutes. He's got production from Lance on here. A bunch of guys I'm not really too sure about, which is cool. It's always cool to hear these kind of new producers coming up and make a very cohesive sounding album. There's Tone Spliff on here. You got some, features from Napoleon the Legend, Ill Bill, there's guys like Shabam Shadiq's on here, Planet Asia, which Elephants in the Room, that song is fantastic, produced by Lance. Verbal Kent's on here with DJ Eclipse, Vinny Paz, shit like that. But awesome shit, dude. Love this record. It's just, for an album that's 56 minutes long, it holds my attention, and that's why it's here, man, because I've listened to it a bunch of times and it flies by. I don't know. It's just got a good melody to the whole thing, man.
You know what? I don't think I checked that album out. I'm gonna have to put that down on the list.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time.
Kind of slipped by me.
Yeah. The Motherfuckers Know. Love that track too, man.
Check it out for sure.
It's good shit, man. It's just, it's good, man. Really, really good stuff. What can I say?
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. But for number 14 for me, I have one of your favorites, Aesop Rock with Spirit World Field Guide.
Yes.
And this album, like with Aesop albums, sometimes it takes me a while to get into them, and this one I think is more so than his past albums. But it's Aesop, man. It's like the guy is just rapping his ass off. Like, you don't know what the hell's going on in his songs half the time. But the thing that kind of held this back for me are the beats. With like, they're getting kind of similar. Like, he did that video game shit, and like, the beats are kind of quirky and a little bit weird, and I don't know. I'm just getting a little bit. I would like to hear him on some more maybe conventional type production for a change. But
I mean, I got the stuff that he did for the video game kind of made. I mean, it does sound a little bit more video game, and that was actually conceived. Originally, he had just done instrumentals, and then someone said, "Hey, man, would you mind putting some lyrics?" And he put some weird lyrics over, and then of course put the instrumentals on there too. But it was actually conceived as just purely instrumentals, so that's why it comes off sounding a little bit, video gamey, because that's actually what it is. But I get what you're saying. I mean, Aesop is always elevating, like, with his beats. He's very busy. He's very busybody, and I think his beats are a reflection of how he thinks. Because if you listen to his rhymes, which you obviously do, but if you actually like try to follow what he's saying and shit, like, the dude is one of those cats that is purely speaking in metaphors. he's like so complex of what he's saying. It makes sense. I mean, and metaphors are one of those things where you can kind of interpret.
Impossible Kid was more easy to understand. Like, Impossible Kid was more straightforward. Like a lot of the themes were easy, but most of the time, like you said, man, it's just he's speaking metaphors. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Right?
Aesop Rock's an interesting cat because he's kind of like the unmasked version of MF Doom. You know, he lives very isolated. You know, he lives an isolated life. He's very eccentric and he's very, very smart. He's got this super high IQ. He's got a talent for words, right? So he kind of overthinks everything, and you can hear that in his lyrics. Like, he's super wordy, and he admits that in his song. He's like, I'm wordy because I can't stop thinking, right? I have to fit fucking 30 words into this 2 bars. You know, it's like, you don't really need that much, but I do, kind of thing. But, you know, I think it's just a product of just being that overachiever status. You know, he's just, there's no MCs like him. You know, and I think, like, I always think of his beats, and I'm like, it's a product of how his brain is thinking. It's just, it's going a mile a minute. It's got to be busy, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, but it would be cool
to hear him do an album with somebody else producing it, just for a change, right?
Right.
Just to see what happens. But
right. I mean,
I don't know if that's going to happen because he does seem to be, like you said, he does his shit solo now, pretty much. So.
Right. Because, like, you know, back in the day when he was doing shit with Blockhead and stuff, like, there was different production. But then Aesop kind of fell into his own ways. Like, he kind of found his beat making and then kind of elevated that, like, through, you know, Bazooka 2, and like it just kind of kept going and stuff. And I think that's why he does it. But then again, I think it's also because he's a very eccentric, isolated type cat. You know, he likes to work by himself, you know, and whatever. But I do feel it though, man. Like, him doing a record with, you know, maybe a bunch of other producers, and you see how that kind of turns out. You know, some of these cats that are putting out shit nowadays. So who knows? You know, Derringer. Do something with like shit. Like, could you imagine Aesop over beats like that? Like, it'd be so crazy. Even Sealance, you know, fucking Stu Bangers. Like, some of these guys that are putting in so much work in right now.
That would be like a total 180, man. It's like if they did production.
Could you imagine a record just all produced by, like, Stu Bangers seems to be doing these one producer, one MC albums. He did like 5 or 6 last year, but why not just do one with Aesop? Could you imagine that? He did one with Mr. Liff.
Oh man,
right?
Yeah,
it's crazy, dude. He's putting out a whole. Recognize Ali put out one with Stu Bangers, which was pretty cool too.
Stu is like, he's busy all the time, man. It's like every day he's putting like little beat videos on YouTube all the time. Like, has his son doing videos and shit. It's like,
I actually commented on one of his Instagram posts, and it was when he was promoting the Mr. Liff album that he did, and I said, dude. I said, you are a fucking beast, the hardest working producer in hip hop right now. Like, you're dropping these, you know, these albums, you know, 30 minutes, but there's so many of them and they're all quality. Like, he didn't put out any shit. Like, that was the thing that was killing me. And I was like, dude, and he commented back and he's like, thanks, homie, for supporting, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I'm being for real, man. Like, you are killing it this year. Like, there's no producer putting out that much like quality in the quantity. It's crazy. So, mad respect to Stu Bangers.
Indeed.
Okay, so coming at number 14 is, you know, usually this cat always is filling up my top 10. I'm still learning on this record a little bit. It's caught me a little bit off by surprise, and that is Your Old Droog's Dump YOD, the Coutro edition. And you know, it doesn't surprise me that he's themed out this album again, because the last of his 3 albums that he put out last year was called Duels, and that album was exploring his Jewish side of his heritage. And on this album, he kind of flipped it to the other side because he's mixed and he's exploring the Russian side of his heritage. And it's a really interesting concept because even looking at the you know, the album titles, like, they're in Russian and shit like that. And there's actually a track on this record called Malshika Kutra, featuring some dude, but Your Old Droog actually raps in Russian on this track, and it's really interesting to hear. And he always said he never thought in a million years he'd ever spit like that, but he just felt like, you know, if I'm going to theme out this record and explore this side of my heritage, I might as well do something in that language. And I thought this was just a really interesting concept for an album. And it's just, man, Droog's lyrics, man, fuck, man, the guy is pure heat. He's very in depth with what he's saying, and he really does think everything through. And like, that's what I love about this cat, man. You know, production is a little bit interesting on this one. He didn't really work with any people that I knew, right? Like, there was a guy named Argov and Iwani, like, it must be Russian producers, hence why the album sounds very Eastern. It's very Eastern influence, obviously. Preservation is the only guy I really knew on the record. So kind of interesting beats, but it does work because, you know, he got that influence from those Eastern producers and stuff. But a couple features, Makami, got Fahim, Billy Woods verse, kills it on Odessa. That's a great verse. There's another track. Actually, Makami's on 3 tracks. Fonte's on a track, but the Pravada's track is crazy. So it's got Black Thought, LP, Makami, and the God Fahim, and it's an interesting track because hearing LP over a song that has very minimal drums was blowing my mind, because we all know that LP, from the Company Flow days, his production was busy, to Def Jux, to fucking Ruckus, or not to Ruckus, to Def Jux, to now Run the Jewels. Everything's so damn busy, like he likes it, and to hear his voice over something so soft sounding is like, is that LP rapping? It's crazy, dude. So that was interesting, and I did learn that Black Thought actually contacted your old Droog himself, and he said, "Hey, man, really? I want to give you a verse." And he was like,
nice.
"What? Like Black Thought is contacting me?" And he didn't know what to do with it, so he created this posse cut out of it. That's how that song came about and stuff. So I thought that was really interesting, but a very interesting concept. And give it up to your old Droog. His last 4 albums, he's basically themed out. He's got a theme for everyone. All transportation was about transportation. It literally was about transportation, right? This guy is putting out very, very interesting albums, and they just have lots of replay value for me because they just feel special. When you listen to a lot of records, they stick out for one reason or another. It's because they're special, and your old Droog is really doing it. He hasn't dropped anything bad in like forever.
No,
dude is unbelievable. So,
I mean, the beats he usually has aren't really accessible to a lot of people, I don't think. But I mean, if you're listening to him, like, I think he's one of the best rappers out now. Like, I friggin' love your old Droog, man. It's like you said, you can just sit and listen to his lyrics. Like, I'll be sitting there just cracking up laughing. It's like, is this for real, man? It's like, come on, dude. It's like, it's almost too good. Some of the stuff he says, it's like, just cracks me up, and I have to listen back to it over and over. It's like, Jesus Christ.
He's another cat that had like a very interesting start. We've talked about this before, but like how, people were saying that he was like Nos and shit. And I like the way Droog approached this, because he just let people talk. He let everyone assume it. He never denied it. He never said he was. Like, he just never said anything. It was all because he has the voice. He actually does sound like Nas a little bit, right? And, and Droog is so smart for that. He just let it go, and then came out and was like, no, I'm Droog. Right? Like, it was just, it was the greatest thing ever. I love that about him, man. But, very, very humble dude. And I'm glad that people are starting to get up on him, because I've had lots of people thank me, and for putting him on Droog. They're like, I didn't even know about this cat. I'm like, no, you got to go back to his listen to his albums in sequence, dude. It's crazy, man. It's really, really crazy. And so I'm thankful for that people are starting to get recognize that type of hip hop. So good shit.
Yeah, and I didn't have this on my list yet, but it's definitely an honorable mention. It's just because I didn't listen to it enough. Like, I base everything on how much I listen to it, so I couldn't put that on there yet. You know
what? It's low.
But definitely,
it's lower on my list, or higher, I guess, however you want to do it. But it's at number 14 because I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm still getting used. Like, I'm loving it, but I just didn't get to it a lot. Yeah. But it's worthy of being there for myself. So yeah.
Definitely. But coming in at number 13 for me, it's a short one. I don't know if you would consider it an album, but it's If You Don't See Me, If I Don't See You in Paradise by Crime Apple.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's short. So, it's short.
And you mentioned, it's like 8 songs on it, but he sort of falls in the same category with Droog with me. Not quite as much, but a lot of the shit he says, man, it's like you have to take it back and listen to it again too. It's like. And he can rhyme in like Spanish and shit. It cracks me up too, man. I don't know what the hell he's saying, but it's good.
You know what, man? I've always said that. Like, I'm not a big fan of like foreign albums that are fully in their language and stuff, because I like to listen to lyrics. But if I'm listening to like a Sick Jackin' album and all of a sudden he flips a whole song in fucking Spanish, I'm like, fucking dope.
Yeah.
But that comes from listening to early Cypress Hill when Be Real would fucking rip in Spanish. I'm like, that's so dope, because I think the Spanish language in hip hop form sounds amazing. So when you because the language is elegant, it actually flows really, really well. And man, I love Crime Apple is one of those cats that, like, I wish I could just get everything he puts out, because he's so dope, but it's so hard to obtain. Oh man, it's so frustrating, dude. So frustrating.
Yeah, man. One I really want to get is the album he did with DJ Skiz, Wet Dirt. Man, that album is god damn, I love that album so much.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, it's dope.
It's hard as hell to get the stuff though, right? So
yeah. I hear you, man. I hear you. Okay, so coming in at number 13 for myself is where am I here? Number 13 is Cross Lakes with an album called Sun Showers. This one, the physical release, I think, comes out next month through Fat Beats. It's dropped digitally, so which is pretty cool. Is this an album that you heard at all this year?
Oh, you're back.
Oh, did I fucking freeze up there?
I lost you, man. You're back. You're gone.
Oh,
yeah. You're back now.
Oh shit! No, I think you actually might have. Yeah, because you went all fucking fuzzy on me and shit there. Okay.
Yeah. Something must have happened.
Yeah, it's fucking typical fucking internet shit. Anyways, did you hear that? Okay, so number 13 is Cross Lakes.
No, I couldn't hear it.
Okay, number 13 is Cross Lakes, Sun Showers.
One more time? No, I'm just joking, man. Cross Lakes, I get it.
So basically, this is a combination of an MC named Solar C. He's from Canada. I believe he is from Ontario, somewhere southern Ontario. And the producer is John Rogers. He's from somewhere in the States or whatever. It's kind of one of those type of mashups and stuff. But, oh, dude, really, really soulful record, man. Like, really heartfelt shit. And, like, it's kind of got that really kind of smooth kind of, hip-hop, boom bap beats and shit like that. It's just one of those records, man, that you can bump from top to bottom. It's got a couple features on the record. Mathematics on here. Mr. Brady's on here. A couple other Canadian cats. Actually, no, Brady's, I think, is from Los Angeles, actually. But Mathematic, of course, is Canadian. But, oh, dude, Real McCoy's on here. You got to check out this record, man. It's Cross Lakes, Sun Showers. I know the vinyl release is through Fat Beats and CD release, whatever. It's coming out in February. Oh, top to bottom, man. It's just a smooth sounding underground record, but really good MC. Nice. It caught me by surprise. I didn't really know much about it. Checked it out, and I was like, whoa! Right from the opening drums, I was like, holy shit, dude, this is really good. But what caught me was,
nice.
The storytelling. The storytelling was really fucking good in this, and it just, whoa, good shit, man. Good solid record. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I missed that one as well, man. I haven't heard that.
I actually don't remember where I even heard about this. I might have been just kind of surfing. Like, I'm always looking for shit and stuff, and I might have read what it was about, and I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And I had never heard of this this group, this Canadian American. So, yeah, it's worth checking out, and I'm always down for that. But yeah, it was that one hit for me. Good album.
Nice, sweet. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. But number 12, I have Rex with Things, or AKA The Hunger Inside Never Gets Satisfied. And Rex is, he just rips mics apart, man. He always does.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Love me, man. Jersey's like one of my favorite places ever for hip hop. Like almost, I could name off like over 150 groups and cats I love out of New Jersey. It's one of my favorite areas ever. You know me with Tony D, man, and Poor Edge's teacher. Like, I love that shit, man. That whole movement. Oh, fuck me. Tony D, one of the most underrated producers ever. Put Jersey on the map, man.
Yeah, for sure. But, on this one, he's got producers Apollo Brown and Evidence, Static Selecta, of course. Marco Polo's even on a couple tracks. But, there's only, there are a couple songs that are a little bit iffy for me, but it's a long album, man. It's almost an hour long. Solid shit by Rex, of course. What do you think about that one?
I liked it. I was kind of in the same boat. I felt like there was a lot of misses for myself, though. I think even a couple of the Static Selecta beats I wasn't like overly super stoked. I don't know. Static Selecta for me the last couple of years has been crazy. Like last year he put out 8 albums. He did what Stu Bangers is doing this year. He did all these one MC, one producer records, and he dropped a whole.
He's definitely been busy.
And I don't think any of them, maybe one or two, like my top 50, like they were all solid, but nothing was like crazy. I just feel like. I don't know what is with Static. Like his earlier stuff seems to be better for me and stuff. The Polo beats on that Rex record is dope. Rex is always, like you said, destroying mics and stuff. But I felt like I didn't listen to it enough, anyways, to even really fully give a full blown opinion. But I remember there was a couple tracks. Either. There was a couple tracks.
When it first came out, I listened to it probably twice. And then I didn't listen to it for quite a while. And the last couple of months, I've been listening to it a lot. Like, the last month, actually. It's, just a lot. And I was like, God damn, this is good shit, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, it could be one of those albums that I went back to and listened to it again and, maybe have a different idea or opinion on it and stuff, but I just remember being like, man, it wasn't that it was too long or nothing. I was just, some of the songs just weren't kind of doing it for me at the time, which is, it is what it is, man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's funny too, like boom, when you listen to something and then you go back, then you go back to it. It's like you might be in a totally different space or just different mood, and shit just hits you better.
Exactly.
That happened with another album on my list too coming up. So
yeah, it's like movies too. Like I tell people, like, if you watch movies when you're not when you're in like a bad mood and shit, sometimes you just don't perceive it the way you probably would if you were just in a normal mood, right? So that's why I always say preach rewatches. Same with music. If you listen to a record and you're not really in the mood for that type of style or something like that, it might. Yeah. But you're like, I kind of like that. Go back to it and give it an honest listen and shit like that. Like I always tell people, just respins and re-watches and listens and shit. It's good for the soul, man. It helps.
Well, that obviously happens a lot more with music than movies, but I mean, because not a lot of people go see a movie at a theater and like, it was trash. They're never gonna pay it any attention ever again, right?
Right.
Yeah, but with music, it's like something you almost have to listen to something at least 3 or 4 times to give it a,
Man, unless it's the fucking new Pharoah Monch 13 group album, man. God.
I listened to that last night, actually.
Did you like it?
No.
Oh, I fucking loved it. I've listened to it 3 times already, man.
I didn't like it, man.
So, did you know the album was going to be like that?
No.
Okay,
I didn't know. I just listened to it and I was like, this is weird.
This is exactly what was talked about on Take It. So Pharoah Monch announced that album about 3 years ago on Take It Personal, one of the times he was on. And he said, "Yo, I got a bunch of projects coming out, but this one coming out here is going to be more, because he's a huge 70s rock lover. Like he loves 70s rock. That's like his shit." Yeah. And so he wanted to do a record that was kind of paying homage to like 70s rock, but he wanted to do a hip hop record with that type of feel and put his own spin on it. Yeah. This is the product of it. So he's like, I feel like people are going to hate this record that are a fan of Organized Confusion. If you're a fan of like Ruckus, you might be okay into it. If you're into his new stuff, you probably hate it, kind of thing, right? But if if you don't know what you're getting yourself into right here, it's going to be off-putting. See, unfortunately, I did know, and like it was funny because he's like, even the hosts were like Phil Flavor and shit. They were talking about, and they're like, man, it's totally going to be like that. It's going to be like, that's why I asked you if you knew what it was going to be. The conception. I know like Knots and Marco Polo and stuff did production on the record and shit. I'm not too sure on the full credits on there. He talked about Knots and Marco Polo and shit, but the group is consisting of him and a couple guys from other rock groups and shit. I don't really know who they are. Yeah. But I really, really liked the arrangement of the music, man. I thought it was so cool, dude. And I was expecting it to be a lot heavier for some reason, the way he was describing it. But it is. It's like that 70s kind of Black Sabbath, like there's a whole pile of influences in there. It's like, it's not like very dark, dreary rock. It's like, it's hard to explain, man. You got to hear it, but man, his lyrics, dude, fuck. Pharoah Monch.
Oh yeah, his lyrics are, Pharoah Monch is Pharoah Monch, right? Oh. But I don't know, man. I just didn't like the arrangement of the music. It's like, to me, it almost sounded kind of cheesy. Like it just didn't work for me, man. I'll listen to it again for sure, but upon first listen, that's the way I was sitting.
That was the first thing that got me on the record, was the arrangement of the music, man. I thought it was so damn cool. I was like, wow, that's really interesting, man. Like how, I liked it, man. I liked that shit a lot. Oh, I wish I was in those studio sessions, man. And honestly, the drums were so good in it. Oh, it just sounded really good. But honestly, the best thing about the album for myself is Pharoah Monch, and like his lyrics are so calculated, man, dude. That song, fucking Racist, man, like the way he's spitting and what he's saying and how he's saying it is so crazy. It's so crazy how he spits that shit. Fucking nuts. Yeah. Anyways, this is like a 22 shots fucking sidetrack in here.
We aren't going to argue about it, though. We're just, we disagree, but we're not going to get heated about it.
Well, like I said, that's great, though. I would just say go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, I will for sure. Yeah, I just went through it once, and that was it. And I was just like, not feeling this. But
I just felt like it's gonna be one of those records that people don't like because they're not anticipating the sound. But okay, so coming at number 12 for myself, I don't know why I keep saying for myself. Who else would it be for? Right? Like, doesn't that just sound
coming in for number 12 for John?
Yeah, for Johnny over here. All right, so number 12 is probably an album you never even listened to because I know you don't like female MCs, and that's Apollo Brown and Shane Noir's album. Oh, okay. Jesus, man. So
I did listen to it.
I have to say, man, Apollo Brown is one of those producers that literally never misses for me beat-wise. He's got the most soulful fucking sounding albums ever. Like, and Chez Noir, in my opinion, this chick is the best in the game right now. People will probably argue and say Rap City is whatever, but Chez Noir, to me, is the epitome of dope female MC, and I don't even like to put that stigma on. She's just a dope MC, man. First of all, she doesn't have that annoying. She's got that approach, that very soulful approach, but her lyrics, dude, I feel like you get to know her so well throughout this record, and like her homage in 1994 at the end just really kind of tops it off, and it's kind of cool too because it's not only a homage to like the year, and like she was born in 94. Right, so I like how she kind of flips that idea and shit, and it's kind of well done and shit. But I like this record, man. Like, you know, to drop your first album and have Black Thought on it, and Planet Asia and Sky Zoo, like it's perfect. 14 tracks, 51 minutes, a couple features, amazing beats. Apollo Brown, fuck man, solid album. I didn't hear a lot of people talk about it. I don't know why she's not getting the attention that Rap City does. Maybe it's because it's not as mainstream. I don't know what's going on there, but man, she can spit, man. Even if you're not a liker, but I think you're feeling like even that record, not even for liking female MCs, I think you can understand.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for sure. But yeah, I mean, my hatred for female MCs will take it down. But
you know what, man? one of these days, man, I'm gonna make like a top 30 female MC album video and dedicate the shit out of you.
Didn't I tell you to make me like a playlist or something and I would listen to it? But
yeah, I mean, I would say like older MCs, I mean, there's some newer really good ones, but throughout the dawn of time, there's a lot of female albums that are actually, they stick out to me. I think they're pretty good and shit. But
yeah, I used to like MC Light when I was a kid. Yeah, she came out, but yeah. Other than that, though, she's pretty much the only female MC I ever paid attention to. Yeah, didn't like Queen Latifah or any of that shit. I was just like, MC Light's cool, but I don't like any of the other.
Oh,
that was when I was a kid, man. That's when I was
UNITY.
So. No, man, hell no.
I love that Queen Latifah's the soundtracks for New Jersey Drive. She does the title song Jersey. I love that sample, and that's fucking dope, man. It's a cool beat.
Yeah.
But
anyway, moving on from female MCs, put them to the side. We have number 11 for me. Another special MC, in my opinion, is Ka with Descendants of Cain.
You know what? I didn't hear this. I didn't hear this, and I was hoping. I was hoping this was going to happen. That you had some albums on there I hadn't heard, but it's kind of funny that you have him on there because I was thinking about him the other day, and I didn't even look up to see if he dropped anything. I didn't know it dropped, so I got to check it out.
Yeah. Ka is like some of the shit he does, the way he puts albums together, and the way it's just friggin' brilliant, man. It's like totally different, and he's him and Rock Marciano have similarities, but lyrically they're worlds apart in most of their stuff they do. So
right.
Yeah, Ka's just brilliant, man. Just a brilliant MC.
Did Knowledge the Pirate drop anything this year?
I think he did.
Because his album last year was actually the only album I was not able to obtain for my top 50. I actually remember, I told the story, I ordered it, it got lost in the mail, and then they were out of stock, and then I got refunded, and I never obtained a copy. And that album's dope. That album's really, really good. So I was wondering, it just got me thinking, like, I didn't hear anything from him this year.
I'm like I said, I'm horrible with years, so it might have been the one last year I'm thinking about, but yeah, I'm not positive. I'd have to check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Yeah, good choice. I'll have to check that out, man.
Yeah, definitely do. It's like, it's Kai, you know what he does. It's like, it's just crazy just listening to. You have to listen to it multiple times.
Right. Okay, so number 11 is Run the Jewels, RTJ4. I know a lot of people have this like favorite album top. I love this record, man. It was definitely one that I was bumping a lot. It's listenable. It's just it's a big step up for me.
Listenable.
It's one of those records and I say that because the third Run the Jewels record I wasn't overly a big fan of. I liked it, but it felt like a big step down from 1 and 2. It actually, honestly, the album kind of bored me a little bit. I don't know what it was. So I was really kind of hoping that they were going to bring back the heat and have a fully energized album. And, obviously what we get here is a fully energized album and, just politically, relevant. It is what it is, what you're going to get with Killer Mike. We all know what Killer Mike and LP. But beats are fire on here, man. Really, really fire. I like the Ooh La La single, man. Using the Greg Knight sample. Primo cutting it up and shit. It's hype. It's dope.
You can't go wrong with Greg Nice, man. Like with those chorus parts, man. Like with Beat Nuts hit with it, Run the Jewels. Like you can't go wrong, man.
No,
it's Greg Nice.
You really, really can't, man. It's so good, man. The return of Zach De La Roca on here. Awesome. So cool to see Zach back on the record. That's really dope. But I think this album from top to bottom, Yankee and the Brave, love the opening track. It's just like heat over and over again. Every fucking track on here just bangs, like right to the bottom. A few words for the Firing Squad. I love too. Like the way this album ends is crazy, man. It's a solid no skip album. It's fun, and I'm glad to see that they returned with, like I said, part 3 wasn't bad. It just wasn't my favorite, especially coming off 1 and 2, which were, so close in proximity, and they just felt like interchangeable. Like 1 was 2, 2 was 1 kind of thing. They were great records, man. This was bringing the heat for me. I really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite album of theirs so far, and I've liked all their albums. So.
It's interesting you say that, because my buddy too, he said the same thing to me the other day. He said this is his favorite album, and then he's like part 2, then 1, and 3. It seems like 3 is everyone's least favorite. I actually had a comment the other day. Someone said part 3 was their favorite album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually my last video. I was like, oh, that's crazy. It's really interesting to hear people's, what they think of records, and but I feel like the Run the Jewels albums does vary. Part 4 is favorite. Now some people like the first one, and part 2. I keep saying part because they're all numbered, but but you know what I'm saying. But he said part 3, and nobody ever says that one, so that's cool.
Yeah. So coming in, we're hitting the top 10 now.
Top 10.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, that was 11.
Yours was 11. Yeah, that's right. Got mixed up there for a second. I didn't know if you went with 11 or not. But I have for 10 Conway with From King to a God.
Nice.
And my phone is just about going dead here. I've got like 20% left on my phone, so I might have to kick this up a notch.
Shit. You can't plug that in?
Yeah. I have my headphones plugged into it, so.
I see.
Yeah. But with this album, man, I thought this, like, if Benny had these beats and this feeling to it, he would have been in this position rather than 20. So, but yeah, I prefer Benny as a rapper than Conway. But I thought as an album, this was solid, man. I listened to this quite a bit.
I agree, man. I think the album is really dope sounding. Like I said, Benny is my favorite rapper over Conway. So. Yeah, that's kind of like how it worked out for myself. I just prefer to listen to Benny, I mean, and I do like the production from Hit Boy on this record versus the Nos record and stuff, but I do agree that the Conway production is pretty damn good, man. Like, did you hear the Griselda album from last year that dropped like right at the end of the year? That Derringer shit, that the production was madness, man. Was madness. Like that record sounded so great until West Side Gun would rap on every track. It's just like I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's like Benny, Conway. What the this was? Dude, I don't know what it is, man. I just can't do it. But anyways, I feel though the Conway record's solid. Good lyrics on the record too, man. Really good stuff. He's spitting some good shit on there. So.
Good features too. I love that song with Freddie Gibbs, man. It's so chill and just smooth. But yeah, man, I was surprised at how much I listened to this album.
Yeah, good pick. All right, so breaking the top 10 is a cat that you just mentioned, and that is The Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs with Alfredo. I absolutely love the title of this, man. Again, sticking a lot of my albums, one MC, one producer type records, and I've always been a big Alchemist fan for one major reason, is that Alchemist is one of those producers that really can vibe with and change his style to anybody or just do his own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you listen to his instrumental albums, they're so crazy weird. It's so different than the shit that he was doing in the late 90s. To what he was doing in the 2000s. He does something different all the time, and this album kind of proves my point, because the beats on here are quite different. Like, honestly, if you threw on this instrumental record, I wouldn't be able to tell you it's Alchemist. And a lot of times people will be like, well, that's, there's pros and cons to that. Like, if you throw on a Primo beat, right away that's a goddamn Primo beat, right? That's a really good thing. Yeah. But I think sometimes it's actually a good thing not to know. And you're like, that's The Alchemist? That's fucking crazy, dude. That's so crazy he produced that. Like, this guy's range is out to lunch. And what I mean by this is, like, so you start off with 1985. dope track. And he goes into God is Perfect. Now, this is a beat that threw me into left field, face planted, fucking broke my... I was like, what the fuck? He's dropping some fucking triple hi-hat trap shit here. I'm like, what the... But it made sense to me. I listened to the record and I was like, okay, I don't know if I can get into that track. And I listened to it and I started thinking about it. And I was like, he's doing this to showcase Freddie Gibbs' ability to rap differently. This is why he did the beat like this. And it is so cool because as you listen to the record, Freddie Gibbs is he's a gifted MC that can spit in different flows, different patterns, different, speeds. And it's showcased throughout the album very subtly at times. But this is obviously out in the forefront. I love that they did this. The placing of the song on the record might be a little bit off-putting to some people that are expecting 85 through. Maybe put this one a little, get used to what you're doing here and throw something in there. They throw like a curveball second track into the record. And again, I've been hearing from everybody, love the Alfredo album, hate God is Perfect. That's like the consensus on, And I fucking absolutely love this record. I think Freddie Gibbs is just, he blows my mind. The shit that he's spitting, how he's saying it. Alchemist, what a great combination. I hope they do another one. Freddie Gibbs, the whole Mad Lib Freddie Gibbs thing is amazing to me, but I think that he's found a new partner in crime with the Alchemist here too, so keep doing it up, man. Fucking Freddie Gibbs, man. And Gibbs is one of those cats too that I still have never been able to figure out because he is so cool with all these underground cats, but all these guys that don't even listen to hip hop love Freddie Gibbs. How did this happen?
It's kind of like Run the Jewels as well, right? It's like people that don't listen to hip hop, like, oh, Run the Jewels, yeah, it's dope shit.
Yeah, like when it's, oh, the LP looks so old. What is he? He looks like Macklemore's dad. I love all these kids. Like, that's a good one. I always love it though, man. They're like, oh man, LP is so old to just be making music these days, and I'm like, come on, man. It's been around for a long time. He didn't
just start this shit.
No,
man.
He's been around for a long time. But yeah. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah, I love that. I love that album as well, man. It's like Alchemist. Like, he's got to be like the MVP of producers this year. It's like, holy shit. Dude. Like, so many projects he's doing. It's insane.
I'm telling you, man, Stu Bangas and fucking Alchemist, and there's
Stu definitely, but Alchemist is like his are on a different level, man. It's
for sure.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's just crazy. But yeah, big ups. I know that one was breaking a lot of lists at number 1, number 2 and shit, but number 10, I dug it.
Yeah, cool. And coming in at number 9 for me is an album we already discussed. It's Felt with Felt for You, I guess. Thought that was kind of weird they changed it to Felt for You, but yeah.
I know, man. That's what threw me off even when I said it, when I had it on my list. I was like, what is it again? Yeah, because it's just kind of off-putting, but...
Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely one of the more pleasant surprises for me this year. It's like, Jesus Christ, this album. I just kept playing it in the car. Every time I was in the car, I'd be firing it on, so...
Yeah.
Definitely a good surprise.
Just do a little switch up on the headphone battery here.
Nice.
You can always tell when it's dying when the shit starts. It cuts out for a second because they're Bose.
Battery, yeah.
So I'm like,
battery on the fly.
Battery's dying. So I'm not even gonna cut that. I don't give a shit, man. We're winging it, man. We're winging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, it's a good album, but like the description, I like when people. Well, I mean, I kind of said that too, but I was like, it's straight daddy shit, but it makes fucking sense, dude. These guys aren't in their 20s.
It's fun though. It's fun. Like, a lot of it's fun too.
Oh, dude, Mears is a funny dude. Like,
yeah.
There's a great interview on Take It Personal with Mears, and like Mears is such a quirky cat because like he talks about everything from watching like the whitest TV shows in like the 80s and shit, and like that's his shit. That's what he loves. He's like I'm a nerd. I love comic books. Yeah. I love nerdy shit, dude.
Yeah, I heard
he's like
say that before, like
right?
how nerdy he is and stuff.
Yeah, like he'd be like, I'm sitting in my house and my friends are out there on the streets and shit, and he's like, I'm watching Family Ties. And I'm like, fucking hilarious, dude. It's so funny. But yeah, I love me some Mears, man. But Mears, we all know hit and miss with his records and shit like that of recent, but he's always got mad flavor though, man. So, all right, so coming at number 9 is an album by Bobby Noble and Lars Viola called Good Time Bobby's Got the Blues. This was released by Chopped Hearing. Bobby Noble, of course, is from Pen Pals. And Lars Viola is a producer. He actually worked with Pen Pals also. Do you know Pen Pals?
Yep. I didn't hear this album, though. At first, I was trying to think, did I hear this? I was like, no, I didn't.
Oh, man. This is some really, really fucking smooth ass, like, jazzy boom bap. It's like a 90s jazzy boom bap record, man. It's just really, it's really fucking good. Now, it's a frustrating one because it's like 11 tracks and it only runs 25 minutes. The songs are short, but it's really good. Like, I love Bobby Noble's fucking flow, and it goes together so well. I just wanted a little bit more. If this thing was like 15 minutes longer, a little bit extended, but I tell you, man, the beats on here, phenomenal. Like, Viola kills this shit, man. Definitely give this one a spin. I didn't even know it was coming out until I grabbed those Chopped Hearing packages like every month and shit, and I was like, oh, because they released some new stuff too, and I'm like, that's cool. Oh man, what a hit this one was for me. I didn't know anything about it, and I was like, I think Bobby Nobles. I know some Pen Pal shit. I'm like, fuck me, amazing.
Yeah,
got so much
crazy.
spins.
You didn't even.
But on the up note of having a short record is that you can spin these albums so many damn times.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
25 fucking minutes. So, all right. Yeah, number 9.
It's good to look at the positive.
Right.
But yeah. But number 8 for me, I have another stellar MC, Elzai, with 7 times down, 8 times up. So I don't think we talked about this at all.
Dope record.
Yeah. This is another one that kind of picked up for me. I was mentioning earlier, it's like towards the later part of the year, I really started listening to it a lot. Like the last, I don't know, maybe month or 3 weeks ago, I really started getting into it, and I've been playing it like crazy lately, like every day.
Yeah, you know what, man? I listened to it a few times. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I never got back to it recently, so it's not fresh with me. But again, I just remember listening to it and Elzai just being like, Elzai ain't changing shit, man. He's doing what he's doing, man. He's not conforming to nothing. He's just doing his own thing, and he is another really intelligent lyricist. Yeah, the way he puts his words together and stuff, and that's what I like listening to him, man. Like, the album doesn't have any like, it's kind of like this low key sound. There's nothing that's really like overly catchy on the record. You know what I'm saying? There's like,
there's a couple songs that I find catchy. Like the bass on this, man, is booming.
Man.
The bass the bass sounds so good on this. It's crazy. Yeah,
good stuff though. Yeah, cool pick. Yeah. All right, so coming in at number 8 is where am I here? Coming in number 8 is the fucking cut Beatles.
He's breaking out another cassette.
What Beatles? You know what? It's kind of funny, man, because I actually completely even forgot to like show off all these. Like, I've got the Chez Noir here. I just kind of forgot because you weren't doing it, so
No,
here's the Run the Jewels,
stack anything here.
Alfredo, and then here's what the album cover looks for this. This is actually really cool. So, just kind of completely forgot what I was doing here. But yeah, anyways, here's the tape for Cut Beatles. This is a production crew from, I think they're from Finland. I think it's a production. Yeah, it's 2 guys from Finland, actually. Man, this is like some good time, fucking straight up, like just hip hop, man. We got The Good People on here, Guilty Simpson, Rod Digga, Elda Sensei. There's actually a bunch of tracks with good people. J Live is on here. Rex is on here. Soundsci. But man, this is just some good funky.
It's an interesting mix.
Yeah, dude, some really good funky hip hop. There's a couple interludes on here that they do. They're kind of like filler tracks where they just scratch and it's just scratch-a-pella shit and stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of scratching on here, lots of sampling, lots of funky ass like hard kind of boom bap and shit. But it's just like it fits so well with everybody, man. Like Emski from the Good People and shit. Like, everyone sounds so dope on this, man. J Live kills it. It's a really, really great record on yellow cassette. So again, no CD pressing, just a vinyl, which sold out in 5 minutes. So tape it is.
What is it with that, man? Everybody's not putting out CDs anymore. It's just cassettes. Cassettes have taken over, man.
I know. It's frustrating because I like to, if I'm going to get if I'm going to buy records, like I don't mind getting the vinyls for home, but I love having the CDs because they're mobile.
Yeah.
They're fucking mobile. Tapes? Yeah. I don't have no tape player in my damn truck.
No. Well, I usually put all my stuff to play in the car on a flash drive, just because it's small and it's easy. Like if I lose it, whatever. But yeah, man, tapes have taken over. It's kind of interesting.
I can't believe I forgot to show off all those album covers as I was going.
Yeah, I didn't know you had them there. I just thought you were showing tapes. Like, those are the only things you broke out so far is the tapes. Broke out the Joe Runner, you're breaking out this tape. So.
Yeah, it's just because you aren't, so like I wasn't even paying attention when I was doing it. I was like, wait a minute, I'm like a few behind here. What the fuck am I doing? So.
Yeah, well, you were saying earlier about putting the albums up in the corner or something. So
right, yeah, I'll see how that works out. But yeah,
And we'll move on to my number 7, by one of my favorite producers or producer crews. I'm not sure. It's kind of ambiguous, but it's Big Ghost. And he did an album with KAAN, or AKA Knowledge Above All Nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's called All Praises Due. So, yeah, man, I wasn't really big on this dude rapping, but anytime Big Ghost puts out a project, I'll check it out pretty much. So I gave this a try, and it's like, God damn, this is pretty good. He's got like his fast flow thing going on, of course, but there are songs where he's not like that, and the production, man, is beautiful. Love it. Big Ghost is always good shit.
I'm not even sure if I heard it.
No?
I'm not even 100%. I might have missed that one, actually. I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I never really heard anybody talk about it, but
no.
Yeah, give it a try, man. It's like, if Big Ghost is just, I don't know who Big Ghost is. Like, I've looked into this, and like I can't find who Big Ghost, the producer. I've heard some people say it's a crew of producers, and they just go by Big Ghost, but
the only thing I know is that he was responsible for putting out that Ghostface Lost tapes a couple years ago. He was responsible for doing the mixes on the original release. And everyone was saying it was just a cut and paste. It wasn't an official release and stuff. So it got released officially, but then it got remixed by... you can get a version of it, which I have too. And Braz Nazareth did a whole album with using those songs. And then Aguila did one too, right? So there's two different sides of that release, and then there's the original Big Ghost one. And I'm like, he's dubbed as Big Ghost. It's not LTD on there, and there is a picture of him, and he looked like nothing what I was expecting him to look like. So I'm like, I don't even know if this is a real picture of him. And like, you're right though. This is like some MF Doom weirdness shit. Like, I don't know who the fuck he is either, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. I looked into it especially after I really get into his stuff, especially with Cocaine Beach. I was like, Jesus Christ, I gotta find out more about this guy, and I couldn't find anything about him. Or who it is. Like,
man, I have no idea what to say because I'm in the same boat as you. It's very strange, right?
Yeah, it is.
All right, so number 7 is holy man, I was flipping when I heard that this was coming out, and that's fucking Godfather Don and Parental with Osmosis. Now, Parental is an amazing, I think he's a European producer. He just produces that raw 90s hard boom bap beats. And when I heard that Godfather Don was rapping over this, I'm like, it's like Godfather Don producing his own shit, but not producing his own shit.
Exactly.
And Godfather Don literally sounds like vintage Godfather Don. He's doing doubles and triples, and like he's rhyming Godfather Don over these beats, and I'm like, this is fucking bananas. Absolutely fucking bananas. So, I guess I should probably show it if I can.
There you go.
Oh, so you can see his face in there a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird cover.
It's weird. This is, man, dude, Parental is, his, like, the shit that he did with Horror City last year was fucking dope. I think he did one with Carta P a couple years ago, too, that was really dope. He's part of the Starting Five. I don't know if you heard that little EP from this year.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that to me before, yeah.
Oh, that was really good. But yeah, so dope ass, like, I mean, you know what you're getting. If you're a fan of Godfather Don and you know Parental's production, you know exactly that combination. Beats, rhymes, as a whole. It's such an amazing listen. I wish it was longer. That's one of my biggest gripes on it, because it runs just under 30 minutes, but it's dope.
Yeah,
it's really, really sick, man. Like, so happy to actually get a copy of this, because I think this shit's already going for like banana money. So
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
I was
lucky. Thought you would have this one higher on your list. I was like, oh man, he's gonna love this shit.
Yeah, I did. I definitely bumped it a lot. Yeah, number 7. Yeah, right. So.
Yeah, the only knock on it I have is it was short. Like it ended a bit too quick for me. But the beats, man, it's like if you had told me that Godfather Don made the beats, it's like I would have believed that. No.
That's exactly what my buddy said to me too. He's like, I would have, if I just threw this on as a Godfather Don record, I would just assume he did the beats himself. Like he was in the studio doing everything himself again. I'm like, no, that's Parental.
Definitely.
He's like fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked that dude up as well. I didn't really find where he's from or anything. I seen he had an Instagram, but I didn't find any details on it.
I want to say like he's maybe, I'm probably completely wrong, but I think he's French or like he's East, like he's from Europe somewhere, something like that. I don't think he's American. Okay. I don't think he's American, man. So, but I mean, it's funny because he's working with like nothing but American MCs. So I don't really know. Like again, you know, some of these cats, it's just. It's keeping up with shit nowadays. It's really hard because we listen to so many records. I can't listen to everything.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah. I don't have the intel on everybody. It's not like back in the day. You know, it's like an album come out. Yeah. You studied it. You knew it. No. But
yeah, so it's a different world now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my number 6, one of my favorite MCs is Rock Marciano with Mountain Mercy. And with Rock, of course, you know what you're getting. I love it. Some people hate it. It is what it is.
Yeah, he's not really changing shit up at all right now, man. I felt like this Rock album was really quiet.
Yeah, he's sticking with what he's, you know, like, he's sticking with this formula. I think he's got his fan base and he knows it's working for him. He's making money, so he's just rolling with this shit.
Yeah, I listened to it a couple times. I really need to go back and revisit. I liked it. I mean, it's Rock. Pretty much everything Rock Marciano puts out is really solid. I like Rock as an MC. Like, I like the way he rhymes. And like, awesome, one of my best friends, man, he's like, I can't do it. He goes, I hate his flow. I hate it. I hate the way he rhymes. And he's like, what the fuck is with his no drums? And he's like,
I get it.
He goes, fuck Rock Marciano for starting up this no drums this theme. And I'm like, you know what? You know, he did definitely start this trend, but you know, it's his.
I was thinking the other night, like, if you would have told me, like, maybe 10, 15 years ago, if you played these beats, like Rock Marciano beats, like Droog beats, like all these really, like, jazzy with no soulful, no drums, and you would have said to me, this is what hip-hop is going to be like in 10, 15 years, and you're going to like this shit. I would have said, hell no, man, are you crazy? This is trash. Like, there's no way I'm going to listen to this. Here we are.
I know, right? It makes sense now because everything is. I mean, people are really trying to, you know, start, you know, just have different sounds and shit. It just makes sense to do something like this, right? I mean, the experimental stage of the early 2000s is way over, and but it's funny because Rock Marciano's doing this, but a lot of producers are going back and doing what worked in the 90s. Like, even they've changed their style up to the point and they're like, fuck it, I'm going back to this shit. It's gotten to that point too, but Marciano's like, fuck it, man, I'm sticking I don't need drum kits. Marco Polo, I ain't buying your new drum kit, man. I don't need your fucking drum kit, you know? Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to stick with samples and just...
You can save that.
But you got, like, a really cool sounding hi-hat I can use.
Give me a hi-hat, maybe a muted snare here and there.
Yeah. But, Right. Okay, so coming in number 6 is probably surprising now, you know, that we've actually talked about this record and the fact that it's higher than some of the other records, especially the last one. And that is, of course, Benny's Burden of Proof, man.
Damn.
This is an album I listened to so much since it came out, man. So many fucking times. I just couldn't stop listening to it. I was taken back by this because when I found out Hit Boy was, you know, doing this, I was like, I don't know, man, because I just went through this Nas stuff. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I like the production a lot better on this. I think it fits Benny a lot better. It's just a different sound, but yeah, it works with me for Benny. I think he nails it and shit. But the song Over the Limit was interesting to do that type of song. Like, it didn't sound like something Benny would really want on his album because it sticks out a lot. Like, we all know the samples and stuff that are on that, and it really does stick out. But I liked it. It was cool to hear a song like that on a record that, you know, that was done like this. And, you know, it's that cocaine shit. And I like the hardness, but Benny's real, man. He talks about it. He's like, I'm an old motherfucker. I'm from this era. And he's like, I can talk about this shit because I actually from that fucking era. Like, you know, and it's cool to have somebody that's around, you know, our age that's newer to the game, but still talking about it's cool, man. I like what Benny's about and shit. He's realistic with what he does. And of course, Freddie Gibbs kills it on here. I even like the Lil Wayne shit, dude. Like, Dom Kennedy is fucking dope. Like, and then of course, Westside Gun and Conway's on a track too. You got to have the Griselda track, of course. But again, it's cool. It's a lengthy album. It's a decent album. Not overly feature heavy. One producer. It just works for me. I really like this. So
good shit. That's surprising. Actually, I didn't know if you would have it that high because
you know
because of the production, basically.
It surprised me too, man. Like I said, I was worried as hell after that fucking Nas kind of debauchery in my. I don't think it's horrible, but yeah.
No, it's not horrible. Come on, man.
No, it's not at
all. It's Nas. Come on. All right, so number 5, I have an album produced by Rock Marciano entirely.
Oh,
Stove God Cooks with Reasonable Drought.
Yeah,
that album, man. Holy shit.
Good.
Like, this dude is, man.
That's actually
another. This. I don't even know what to say about this. This album, I listen to this shit all the time, man. It's like, holy
that's
shit.
Actually an album
I was so surprised by this.
Oh, it was in my top 20 for a long time. It got bumped out, so it'll be like right in my kind of honorable mention to, you know, that part. But I really enjoyed that record too, man. Like, you know, if you listen to the Rock Marciano album and that one back to back, it's a dope, like, well, actually Marciano's
this one
album's...
does have a little more drums on this
Oh,
one, but
definitely. Actually, Rock Marciano's album's pretty long, isn't it? It's like an hour long, wasn't it? Yeah. So good shit.
Yeah, it's good shit, man. Yeah, I was surprised by this. Like, I saw Rock Marciano produced it, so I'm checking that out right away just to see if it is different. But it's pretty similar to his production for the most part. But
right, I didn't even know much about the cat, to be honest.
No, he used to have a different name, something I can't remember. It's like his real name or something. But yeah,
interesting.
I'll definitely be checking for him in the future.
Right. Okay, so top 5 is Aesop Rock's Spirit World Field Guide. Number 5.
There it is.
Yeah, I got this on vinyl too. Like, I've got the a couple of these on CD and vinyl. You know, like some of my favorites. I grabbed the Run the Jewels vinyl too.
On the favorites, right?
Oh yeah, this is a crazy release too, because if you open this up, the disc is like all purple. It looks like it's like a burn on demand, but it's not. It's the way they did these new kind of isotope discs. I don't know. It's weird. It's like a new thing that they're doing. It's crazy. But yeah, you know, it's Aesop, man. Like, you know, he's one of these cats where you can listen to and pick out something from his lyrics every single time you listen to it. It's the replay value is always there. I agree. This isn't beat wise is definitely not his best that he's done, but man, I honestly really get involved with what he's saying because I'm really trying to just figure it out. Like my brain is going like a mile a minute trying to, and I'm like, once I'm trying to process one thing, I miss some shit. And then when you go back and re-listen, you're like, okay, I'm on to the next line. You know, it's like, there's not too many MCs out there where it allows you to really kind of like rack your brain. You know, you're just thinking and thinking, because I like to understand what I'm listening to. And I'm one of those people, I'm a very I'm into science. I need to understand things, right? I need to understand just the way my brain works. If I'm like, what do you like? I need to understand how things work. I just need to understand how things work. It's just the way my brain is, right? Yeah. And that's what I find so compelling about A$AP Rock. And every time he puts out an album, it's, you know, it's always gonna be pretty high. If I like it, you know, I'm not trying to be completely biased. This is top 5, but good album, really good shit. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, top 4. We have an album we discussed earlier as well. Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist with Alfredo.
Yes.
So. Yeah, man. Like when this comes on, 1985, it's like, God damn, that guitar comes in. I'm like, holy shit. And then Freddie just unleashes on it. I'm like, oh my God.
Absolutely.
But yeah. That's one of my favorite tracks of the year, man. I freaking play that over and over. I'll just like put it on. But yeah, definitely good shit.
Yeah, I think one of my top like 5 favorite tracks of the year is Frank Lucas.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that song is just, it's neck breaking, man. I love that track, dude. Like those two just murder that shit. Murder it.
The Tyler feature on this album kind of took me back, but it's all right.
Dude, I know. I'm not a really big fan of him either, but man, I actually really enjoyed that feature too, which I don't think I mentioned before, but the Tyler, it's pretty good, man.
Yeah, just an odd pairing though, Freddie Gibbs and Tyler the Creator. Who would have thought that shit?
Yeah, right. Obviously,
Alchemist hooked that shit up.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Good pick. Number 4 is R.A. the Rugged Man's All My Heroes Are Dead record.
Nice.
You know, it's been a long time in the making. You know, R.A. is R.A. He's one of those cats that, like, you know, just puts in an abundant. He's almost over the top in his work ethics, man. Like, this guy tours nonstop, puts in so much damn works with so many people, so many producers, you know, and he flips shit so interesting. You know, he's got different flows on every song. He goes fast, he goes slow, he does everything track to track differently. But man, I tell you, lyrics, like, he's got tracks on this record that bring tears to your eyes, to like his dirty, raunchy shit, to like straight fucking battle. You want to battle me? I'll fuck you up lyrics. Like, he's got everything on here, man. You know, you know, he has some typical RA stuff. He talks about how he's a piece of shit all the time and stuff, but you're going to get that with RA because, you know, he basically has this thing where in the 90s he always talks about how he was all mentally fucked up, and I think it's definitely affected him his whole life and stuff, and he wants people to know that he's self-aware of how he was, you know, and it's something that he deals with every day, and I believe that he always wants to, you know, kind of bring it out there. That's how he deals with it and stuff. But, you know, bringing up his family and just making these, see, Ari's the type of guy that can put those songs in the middle of a record and you're just like, yeah, that's cool. And then next song he's ripping it with fucking Afro and DJ Jazzy Jeff and this ridiculous fucking flows, man. Like, they're rapping so fast, it's like, it's insane. Man, production, man. We got Psycho Les does the beat on Legendary Loser. Like, that's crazy, man. Alrighty, so yeah, just a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we're back. I think the last thing I was saying, I was talking about Ari the Rugged Man. I had mentioned that Inspected Deck and Timbo King. Inspected Deck just ruins Ed Koch's New York, man. Such an incredible track, man.
That song is so good, man.
I know, shit. Man. Like, gotta be dope with Afro and Jazzy Jeff. We mentioned that, but like one of the singles of the year, man, is the Slayers Club with Ice-T, Vinny Paz. It's brand new being Chris Rivers, which is Big Pun's son. Chino XL, MOP, and Onyx. Like, what a lineup of what a posse cut that is. Crazy.
Yep.
Pretty cool shit. You got Immortal Technique on here.
It's fun. It's fun that he's doing these like posse cuts. Like his whole. You were mentioning earlier, it's like he goes like to the old school approach when it comes to albums. Like he'll throw on so many different subject matters. Like he'll have these posse cuts. Like it is like an old school album for sure.
Right. And it's a long one. It's like a 76 or 77 minute record. Like he pulled no punches on this shit, man. It's crazy, but it's cool. It's cool to see people from everywhere, all over the place on this record. Like production's really cool. I mentioned Psycho Les. Classified produced "Wondering How to Believe." You know, he produced that song, which kind of makes sense because Classified can produce those type of really kind of heartfelt, beats and shit. Like he's kind of known for that. But it goes on to like Sea Lance and Mr. Grimm. I think did 5 or 6 beats on the record. Prince Paul was on here. Tone Spliff, like he's fucking all over the place, man. Teddy Rockspin, it's nuts. Great features, great production, and it's a heavy album lyrically, beat wise. Just we waited a long time for the new record, but I definitely wasn't disappointed. I haven't heard anyone say anything bad. Like in fact, I've heard more people say this is like their favorite record of the year, hands down. But yeah, it's good shit. So, but yeah, so that's R8 at number 4.
Yeah, and actually, I already made my number 3, and I like this shit so much, I got 2 copies of it. Good to settle for one, man.
So actually, I actually want to bring that up that you showed that because I went back and checked the video, and I'm new to recording on Skype and stuff, but what we realized that we record in widescreen, but the way it visualizes, it crops it into full screen. So when I'm showing albums like this, you're probably not seeing them on there. So I got to hold them right here. I just learned that.
Yeah, it was funny because Moots was showing his albums earlier. So when we had this break here, I just went and grabbed my top 3 albums. But then he's like, yo, when I'm showing these albums, you can't even see the shit. So I was like, but yeah, if you hold them up right here, then you got to see them, right?
Yeah, right in the middle. I got to show them right in the middle. Otherwise, if I was just recording by myself, I can put them up in the corner here. But no, it's the way it crops. So yeah, you learn something. It is what it is. It's kind of funny. Whatever. People get the picture. So
it's the first time we're doing this on video like this. So
right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 3, man. It's like just a solid album.
What's your favorite song on the album? What's your favorite song?
Oh man, that's a good question. Probably Ed Koch, New York, I think.
Oh, it's such a banger, isn't it?
Yeah, man. That's and the video for it's funny. Did you catch the video for that? They had it on World Star.
Yeah. Did you see the new one with Immortal Technique?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
I trust. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised he made one for that, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great record.
Yeah, man.
All right, so number 3 is I'll put this right out in front since I got it sitting right here and I'm remembered to show it, but Blue in Exile, Miles. This is phenomenal. This is an incredible record. I was really taken back by this because when I first saw the listing, I was like, holy shit, 20 tracks. I'm like, that's nuts. It's a long album, but it's actually a double album. It's separated into 2 discs, 10 tracks per disc, and it's long. It runs about 96 minutes total. So we're talking work into this. And I'm saying, man, it's a really cool album. It kind of pays homage to old blues and jazz and stuff like that. And it's just the consciousness of this record is amazing. He gives it up to everybody. Black people throughout history that have made history and stuff. He makes tracks like that. And he gives it up to hip hop and just every political, he's all over the place with this. Such good lyrics, such good beats. Exile is one of those producers that you've seen the growth in their albums too. Like Exile's done a lot of different type of stuff, but this one's really cool. The jazzy samples and the blues samples and all the shit that they put in here. But it's not boring at all. Like every track has got something special to it. It doesn't have any gimmicky bullshit R&B. It does have some singing and stuff, but it goes really well with what they're doing. And this is one of my favorite Blue projects in a long time. Like, I like a lot of the shit that he's been doing, but he puts out different projects. They always sound different because he works with so many different producers. But this is where I feel his heart's at with when he works with Exile. And that's, this is right up there with one of my favorite double albums of all time. There's some hit and miss ones.
It's not.
Yeah. Awesome. I highly, highly recommend this. If you're a fan of Blue, Exile, you like Below the Heavens and everything that they've done, this is something special. Really, really great album.
Yeah, I like that album, but I'm not the biggest fan of Blue. Mm-hmm. But definitely a solid album. I just didn't go back to it that many times, and it is a long listen as well. So
right.
I just didn't get back to it enough. I'll definitely give it some more tries, but I just didn't get around to it yet.
Yep.
But so I guess we're at my number 2, and another one we talked about earlier. Run the Jewels 4.
Right.
Definitely just a complete banger album to listen to when you're driving. You know, it's like political. It's funny. It's, you know, Killer Mike and LP. They're just a dynamic duo in hip hop right now. It's like it's so funny how their careers have gone and they've ended up at this point and being a major success together.
Right.
It's almost like a fairy tale story. It's like you wouldn't even believe it if someone told you that, right?
Well, it still blows my mind too. It's like, you know, people always kind of joke about the fact that, like, you know, Killer Mike is so like pro-black, but he works with this white cat, right? But I think people don't realize that, like, where LP comes from and in his responsibility within the culture too. Like, you know, he's not just this white cat that's paired up making lots of money with Killer Mike. It's like he's part of the culture. You know, he's not seen as, you know, a white guy, you know, doing this black music and stuff. He's integrated into the program, you know, into the system and stuff. And I think that I think they work well. You know, he's very, very political himself. He always has been. He's always fought for those rights and those reasons, like, you know, like we have and shit. And it's like they go perfect together. And, you know, they respect each other. It's just it is an interesting pairing because I'll never forget when Killer Mike put out his record Rap Music that was produced by LP. I was like, what the fuck? Where did that even come from? Right? Because Killer Mike was doing, like, you know, he's from the South and stuff. He was doing his own thing down there, and, you know, LP was doing his thing at the time, still with Def Jux and shit. And all of a sudden, he's producing for It was the weirdest combination. And then that was like the prequel to Run the Jewels. I think people seem to forget. They've actually technically done 5 albums, even though LP didn't really rap on that record. But love some Run the Jewels, man. It's a great rolling record, man. To roll around, listen to that Run the Jewels, it just fucking bangs, dude. It's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah, especially if you're driving fast, like if you have an opportunity to put that on.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, number 2 is an album also released by Chopped Hearing. This is this is so good, man. And
I probably haven't heard this.
This is the Anthem and Mike B. I always forget the name of it. Never Selling Out. I always forget the title. But look at that album cover. That's some shit right there.
I haven't heard that.
So the Anthem,
man.
I don't
That's
really
old school shit.
I don't really know much about. Apparently, he's an MC from San Jose, but Mike B, I know very well. He's a producer from Last Jazz Club with Vex. So if you know their music, you know what you're getting yourself into. It's going to be some very, very, you know, smooth 90s boom bap, very sample heavy, lots of scratching, lots of cool samples and shit. That's what you're getting on this record. It's awesome. Like Last Jazz Club, they put out a record a couple years ago, and it was one of my favorites of the year. I promoted the shit out of that one because it was fantastic. So I was super hyped to listen to this because I was like, I don't know this guy, the Anthem, but I know Mike B. And this came across as amazing. It's just awesome. It's just hip hop at its finest, man. It really is. And a record that I spun over and over and over again. It's short though. It runs about 30 minutes. It's one of these albums of today, 11 tracks, 30 minutes. You know, it's a quick listen, but it's so
even though it has the old school feel, it's like the new school type of
new school lengths. Every song is like 3 minutes. You know, but like right from the intro, man, the scratch intro, and the samples are so fucking good in it, man. Oh, it's great. I love it.
Nice. There's another one I can check out, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. So here it is, number 1 for me. It's Mr. Kambada with LSD.
Wow.
Lunar Solar Duality.
Cool.
Man, I love this. I love this shit so much. Like it's man, it's a trip for sure. This lyrically, he's just on his own shit. Like he's not like anybody else. Like the topics he has are so. I just laugh at this shit. I'll just sit there with a smile on my face. It's like that's what Rock Marciano used to do to me. Is like I would just sit there listening to it, just smiling the whole time. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dark, serious shit on this, and it's like some, but there's some comedy as well. It's like it's just amazing. Just amazing nice. MC to me. Yeah, and the beats. I love the beats as well.
Where did you cop that at? Where'd you get that?
I don't know. Probably Amazon, maybe. Or
really?
Might have been. Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
I think I got it on Amazon. Yeah. Yeah, it's dope artwork too. Check that out.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I haven't even heard it. Man.
Just
I haven't
even
heard
it. Just a digi, but yeah, it's really cool artwork on there. So
that is cool. That one bypassed me this year. I never even listened to it. So
no,
that's cool, man.
Oh,
that's
man.
Cool.
Yeah, it's on Mellow Music, so
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Mellow Music puts out a lot of different stuff, man. They got a lot of different type of artists on there, and it's funny because you be buying shit and you're like, oh, Mellow Music Group, Mellow Music Group, Mellow Music Group.
Yeah.
It's like fuck. It's like you know what you like, right? And they release that type of stuff. So
yeah, I mean this was definitely. I mean, I've listened to Kambada before, but this album is like for me, it's way above his other shit.
Right,
but,
yeah.
I mean, it's similar topics. He has like LSD does the rhymes with everything starts with LSD. All the words are LSD through the whole song.
Yeah.
And then later on, did you hear his song he made, COVID-24?
No.
It's like, I think it's like 10.5 minutes, and it's the same rhyme scheme the whole fucking song.
Damn.
It's insane, man. It's insane.
So he's taking what like Busta Rhymes did on like Woo-Ha Got You in Check, for 3 different verses, but he did 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, man. 10 minutes straight just about, it's like COVID, conspiracies, Kobe Bryant's death, like everything mixed into like 10.5 minutes of just crazy shit, man. You got to hear that.
That sounds
it's nuts,
wild.
Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was watching some of his live streams he does as well. Like he would just go on and he did like a breakdown of the album. It's really cool too, man. So definitely check it out if you get a chance.
Sweet. All right. So my number one album of the year is Marvelous and Alcapella, Where the Sidewalk Ends.
I didn't hear that one. That's crazy, man. You didn't hear my number one.
Right.
I didn't hear yours.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, chances are you might not have heard this one, but oh man. So basically this album right here, I checked it out for 2 reasons. It came out in the summer. I came across it and I loved the album cover. If you could look it up right now or whatever, you can check it out. But I'll put a picture up if I can on the screen.
Yeah.
But anyways, the album cover caught my attention. I was like, wow, that looks like some hip hop shit. But then I was like, the title of it, Where the Sidewalk Ends. And I'm like, I know that title. Where do I know that title from? It was a fucking book. A children's book that was written in the 80s that was fucking banned by a lot of states and places and shit like that. Because apparently the ideologies within the book were like, it was kind of promoting that, kids don't listen to their parents and have a mind of their own and do their own thing, basically rebel against the system. But it was done in a comedic way and people took it the wrong way. So it became this really infamous book about, if kids are going to read this, they're going to just turn out like shit. You got to follow the, so people were pissed off about it. So I thought the title was really intriguing and it really does kind of play into the record and stuff. But the whole album is basically very personal. It's a personal story and he tells about, all his personal things and stuff. And lyrically, I was blown away by this. Beat wise, holy shit, dude. Like, I don't really know much about Marvelous. I think he's like an MC from like Connecticut or something like that. And I think the Alcapella is like from, I don't know, somewhere around there, but a couple features on here. We got Afro on a song called Neighborhood Bullies, which is phenomenal. Man, there's a song on here, Fly Talk. Dude, the samples in that, man, there's like this awesome MOP sample, and there's this great Scarface sample in there, but it's got Recognize Ali, King Magnetic, scratches by DJ Trey. It's an amazing record, man. I can't even stress enough. This one just blew my socks off. I listened to it, and I must have listened to it like fucking 30 times, like in a, like I just kept spinning it, dude. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Very, very heartfelt, but it's it's got that, I wouldn't say it's like straight 90s sounding, but it has that kind of feel to it, but it's a little bit more up tempo. But on point, man. What a great record. 15 tracks, runs about 40 minutes. It's like perfect. That's what I always stress. I'm like 15 songs, 40 minutes, like perfect, man. Hip hop, man. Just is what it is. Great album artwork too. So
definitely want to. So I want to hear your top 2 albums for sure. But I think there were 2 or 3 others you had in the list that I haven't heard as well. So that's cool.
Oh yeah. So this album right here.
That's why I like doing this, man. Is because you get you can get you can check other stuff you haven't heard of at all. Like you just bypassed it throughout the year for whatever reason. In your chopped herring shit, I never could really check out much of that at all.
Right. Yeah, they're a little bit more difficult to get a handle on, but no. So this Marvelous album, I actually do have on order. I took my chances with it, and I recently ordered it, so I was like, because I kept putting it off, and I was like, man, fuck, dude, I was trying to find it somewhere else and stuff, and I said, screw it. The only place to find this is on the Bandcamp, and I'm like, I'm hoping it comes through.
Okay.
Right, so I'm like, man, but it is what it is. I don't know. Fat Beats hopefully will carry. I don't know, but it is what it is. I'll probably hopefully get it. Maybe the mail system is starting to like thin out a little bit because I know it's been backed up like weeks and shit. It's just been a total fucking mess. But...
Yeah, it's disasters right now.
So
that's it, man. Top 20. But did you have any honorable mentions?
I'm probably not going to mention any because I might do an extended list.
Okay.
I'm thinking I might do, because I do have the rest of the list all done. I just got to kind of organize a little bit. So I do have a bunch of albums in there that I will just briefly mention when I do the list and stuff. But but you could, if you're not going to do an extended list, like, go ahead. List them off.
What did you hear? What did you hear to think about the KRS-One album?
Dude, I liked it, man.
Yeah, man. I was surprised. I was like, God damn, that's pretty good.
I felt like he was hungry on that, man. He was coming hard on that. There's some good beats and shit. I was like, it's frustrating. I wish he would put that shit out. Like his last, I think this is like this 5th album in a row. He's only gone digital, and they're just, I mean, it's KRS-One, dude. I like to have a physical KRS-One, but this was a surprise, man. I was like, whoa, that's pretty solid. I haven't heard anyone mention it. Good thing. I'm glad that you mentioned it. Yeah,
man, I was definitely surprised by it. I was like, God damn, KRS is still doing this shit, man. It's like, people kind of forget about KRS. Like, when they talk about, like, the old school guys like Cool G Rap or whatever, it's like, KRS is never in the list. Like, you never hear his name now.
It's surprising, too, because he's been consistent. I mean, with album-wise, I wouldn't say quality-wise. He lulled in the 2000s a little bit, but I think in the last few years, he's actually put out some pretty quality releases, but he's still putting out that record every 2 years, like he knows how to do.
Yeah.
So, respect, man,
Yeah. Another one was Vinnie Paz. I'm a big Vinnie fan, but this album's had its hits and misses for me, but
I mentioned in my update, my year, physical update there, I was saying it's a solid record. It's definitely my least favorite of the Vinnie Paz solo records. But it definitely does have its moments for sure. Yeah, it's Vinnie.
Yeah, another couple. What you think about the Busta album? Busta Rhymes.
I actually enjoyed the shit out of it. I'm not gonna, dude. So there's a lot of mixed opinions on it. I think it's kind of funny because everyone was talking about this new Busta album, and then it dropped, and then it went quiet. Because I just took that as people didn't live up to the hype for them and stuff. And I was talking to some friends, and they're like, there's some good tracks on it, but there's so much junk on it. And I was like, you know what? I actually didn't like the first single with Anderson .Paak. I didn't like that song, and I was like, oh man. So, and I think there was 2 songs back to back in the middle of the album I didn't really care for, but I think the album's, up to that point is solid, and then it finishes solid too. I think there's some really good shit on here, but Busta fucking sounds hungry, and he made a good album, man.
He sounds the same as like his old shit. It's like, it's great, pretty
Dude,
crazy.
Best intro of the year though. Best intro. It's so dope, dude. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Got Chris Rock, Pete Rock. It's crazy, man.
It is. It's like, what were you thinking right there? It's like, let's get all these guys together.
Yeah. There's definitely some bangers. And me, I've said a million times, I'm not a huge fan of like making sequels to like classic type albums. They never seem to like ever kind of live up to what they once did. I don't know, man. I mean, this is a pretty good follow-up. This is a pretty good sequel to TLE, so.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. Another one I was thinking about was Royce had the Allegory. Did you hear that one?
I did.
I know you're not a big Royce fan like myself, but dude, this album is pretty solid, I thought. I liked it.
I gave it a couple spins, and I don't know what it is, man. Like, I like Royce, but he makes boring fucking records to me, man. I don't know what it is, dude. It's like, I always say this about Sky Zoo too. I think Sky Zoo is a really dope MC, and he has good beats, but together he can never hold my attention through like 60 minutes. Like,
I get that.
I don't know what it is, man, but Royce, and like, Royce has elevated himself to the point where he is like spitting some ridiculous shit. I don't know. It's a combination, and like, it's not horrible by any means. I enjoyed the record. I actually did enjoy it, but I mean, it's not something I'm going back to. That's the problem. So
yeah, I agree with that. It's funny with Royce because it's both of us feel almost exactly the same way about him. And other people put him on such a high pedestal. And it's just, I don't know. It's funny that both of us feel that it isn't, to me, it's not boring, but it's just, I don't know. It's something about him. I can't even explain it really, but his lyrics are good, but just as a project that he puts out, I usually can't get into it. But this one I thought was really solid, though. I thought it was pretty damn good. Yep. But a couple others, just like the Fleet Lord with Pete Rock and Buck Wild. I thought it was pretty crazy that he did an EP or album, whatever, with both of those producers, Buck Wild and Pete Rock, in the same damn year. Like that's pretty crazy, man.
That is crazy, man. It's too bad those projects weren't more flushed out, though. Like a minute and a half songs and shit is really bizarre to me.
Yeah, that's the way he does it, I guess. That's the Fleet Lord way. Just get in and you get out, right? But yeah,
it's so true.
So just a few other projects there that I thought were pretty dope. One was Boldy James and Alchemist. That was pretty cool.
That was actually a really good album, man.
I mean, I wasn't really a Boldy James fan. Like, he's not really somebody that I overly enjoy, but that project was pretty solid.
I agree, man. I agree. I was the same thing with him, man. I don't find him to be the most attentive MC out there, but man, the project just kind of came together for me, man. So Alchemist does wonders for people, I swear. Right? Like, brings out the best in them. I always feel like that's what like DJ Premier does, the same thing. He can take like, you know, kind of an average MC, and all of a sudden the track is like, holy shit, it's like off the chain. You're like, what the fuck just happened here? So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so there's just a couple that I thought were pretty cool albums, but not enough to make the list. I didn't go back to them enough to get the top 20, but definitely solid albums.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's a few that like were right on that cusp of my top 20 that all could have been kind of interchangeable at that point too. Like, like minor spoiler here, but did you listen to the Billy Danzy record this year?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, that shit was dope, man. It kind of shocked me, man. I was like, holy fuck, this guy needs to put out more solo shit, man. I wish he'd press it up too. I think it's digital only, but it's good, man. It's really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was one I went back to quite a bit this year too. So
sweet.
All right, so I guess that's gonna do it here for top 20 of 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
All right, guys.
It's a good year. It's a good year.
Man, I inhaled some. Maybe it's the COVID. No, I totally just inhaled some. But anyways, guys, so hope you guys enjoyed the list. Leave comments down below if and leave your list, your top 5, 10, 20, whatever you guys want to do. I'm always interested in what people's tastes are and shit like that. So again, remember these are favorite lists. These are not like the best albums of the year, which people always seem to get twisted. There's a difference between best and favorite. There is no such thing in best to me, but whatever. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. And deuces.